That is not working on my end, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah. So we're gonna go through ISC as usual. It is a clickbait title, by the way. Algared couldn't make it today, so I replaced him with Jon and Dan. And we'll see how that's gonna go from there. So yeah. I did want to talk about the the title last week you had about the profanity of people drawing stuff with the repair laser and stuff. I don't think that's going to be a thing, because me and Algared were talking about it. We've actually got an idea for how they're possibly going to fix it, but we'll see how that happens. In the interest of time.
Sure.
Yeah, so chat's working, which is a good start. But yeah, I'm having some weird issues here with my overlay, so just give me a moment. Okay, cool, that'll work. Yeah, so basically, what we were talking about when me and Algared were talking about it, was that if you think about it, and you'd know more about this than I, Badges, because the way I kind of explained it to Algared when I thought about it was, if you have a hole in a ship, it's basically going to deteriorate more over time. So the other thing is so let's just think of what I'm talking about when I talk about profanity. You know what people are going to draw?
Yes.
That particular long thing, phallic.
Oh, yes.
Right. But when that's hollow, so there's no inner detail. But if you leave that hole there, as you fly, it's going to actually do more damage and get bigger over time. Like it'll actually have wear on it.
Sure.
And I think they'll make it quite bad, as in it'll be quite prolific. And as that happens, so basically they're giving you the reason not to do it, essentially. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, I mean they've actually got some legal issues there as well. So in certain countries, it is illegal to portray certain symbology, right? So I think you're right. I don't think at the moment what we're seeing is you end up taking the armor out in exactly the pattern that you cut it. I wonder whether they'll do something with the geometry so it won't end up being like that. So what you cut out, you remove sections of panels that don't allow you to freeform draw. Because, the problem is how do you tell the difference between someone who's going to put, a very offensive, and, I don't want to say the word because I know the YouTube algorithm will have us, but let's think of symbology in Europe during World War II that's very offensive to a lot of people and for good reason. How do you tell the difference between someone who is putting that on the side of their ship for a laugh to wind people up and someone who's genuinely been trolled? You go up with a laser, cut it in while no one's looking, run away like hee, and then that person's flying around because everyone's going to go, well, I didn't do it.
Yeah, I think they literally will make it so it damages at a kind of a prolific rate. And if you think about it, if you quantum drive through space, the aerodynamics of ships going through atmosphere and all that, like you could literally like as soon as you start moving, like it's like, oh, the ship's going red, oh, orange, oh shit, it's red, what so you figure it out really quickly. I think that's the answer, because I heard a lot of people talking about it, and then I started thinking about it, and I brought it to Algared, and we went back and forth, and we did want to talk about it on last week's stream. We just got totally sidetracked by what happened on ISC, you see. So I did want to talk about it this week because I think it's a really interesting topic, and I almost think it's show worthy. But honestly, when you break it through, it kind of, you go, oh, that's an obvious fix. That's what it was for me. What about you, Jon? Have you thought about that at all with the repairs and stuff?
No, I've been looking forward to salvage, so I don't want people to repair their ships. I want to go and rip them to pieces.
Right. So you're savage, Jon. Okay, got it.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna have to set up a gotcha count, because Manically Yours is stressing about Algared. No, he hasn't been replaced. He's been replaced for a day because he couldn't make it to the stream. But I gotcha. Yeah. I got you with the clickbait title. That was my intention. But I gotcha. And so we've got badges here, John, and a new player, Dan. He's on his 3rd day today. That I randomly ran into him, and he's just been sucked into this. So yeah, so everyone can welcome Dan. He's from New Zealand. Dan, talk up a bit. Tell him about yourself. What do you do for a living?
Drive tankers for a living, so I pick up milk, and also a volunteer firefighter. So without doing those things, pretty much jumped on here, had the game for, well, since 2020. Haven't really played it that much. Didn't really get into the gist of it until just recently downloaded it and then asked for some help, and yeah, that's how I met X. And then met John, and then met the other fella today. I can't remember. Oh, Badges. Just first time meeting him today. So yeah, no, it's been really good. A lot of help out there on the a lot of help there out on the servers. That's definitely for sure.
I'm gonna be honest. You haven't even known Badges for like an hour, so that's how fresh.
yeah. I think it's all in the last 15 minutes. I think. Yeah.
So yeah, it's very fresh, very green. So if you do have any questions from a new perspective, it has been interesting because we don't often, not every day you get to talk to someone that's looking at it. And it's like, for me, it's like anyone that's got kids will know what I'm talking about, is when all that old stuff is new again. So just seeing Dan react to like things that we all take for granted is always interesting. So yeah, that's what I enjoy about showing new people. I'm
like a kid in a toy store, I must admit. Seeing all this, just the way that like I was saying to John when we were having a couple of bunker missions this morning, just the graphics and the hyperdrive and stuff like that compared to any other game, like being on a planet and driving the mule around and stuff like that with the gravity and just everything is absolutely spectacular compared to any other game that I've played. Just the detail that happens is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've said it before, and Raz Zalinto's literally just said it in chat. One of the things that I really enjoy, and they really enjoy as well, is like re-seeing everything with fresh eyes when you help a new player.
Yeah.
Because you so quickly become used to it. Like you were saying there, Dan, about all the effects and stuff. Every so often, I'll like jump into Quantum, I'll go away, make myself a cup of tea, walk back, and as I'm coming back to the screen, just think, God damn, that's pretty. Do you know what I mean? So it's lovely to hear new players talk about it. Do you mind kind of sharing a little bit of your story of like how you found out about the game? Your first impressions, where you first spawned, what you thought?
Actually, it's kind of surprising because he has told me. But yeah, go ahead. I just want to say, actually, real quick before I interrupt. Yeah, people are freaking out about what I said about Algared. And yes, they got it in one. It's just a complete clickbait. I got to feel like I need like a counter because we're up to like 10 already. But yeah, the clickbait tells work wonders. So yeah, I got to keep doing it because it's actually gives me this little giddy chuckle inside. I don't know why. It's like a gotcha. So I'm sorry, but yeah, Algared is just he's got lots of schoolwork at the moment, as does Paul, because the school season's gone back, and so he's got lots of marking and stuff to do, so he couldn't make it today. But I knew I'd get you with the clickbait, and it worked a wonder.
Soren in chat has you down to a T. If X shaves his beard off, he just becomes the troll face. That's why the beard's there. If he gets rid of the beard, he's just troll face.
He didn't say anything about a beard. What are you talking about?
No, he says X has a hidden troll inside him for sure. That's what it is. If you shave the beard off, it's just one of those.
Those trolls from the 90s with the hair. It's one of those.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
sorry, Dan.
Pink hair. Anyway,
but let me interrupt a minute before Dan comes in.
Go on.
What you just said, Badges, is exactly the same conversation I had with him earlier while we was doing bunker missions.
Oh, you mean about new players?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Dan, we've interrupted you. Everyone's interrupted you at least once now, so go.
No, it's all good. So pretty much I just stumbled across the game back in 2020, just doing the normal, watching the YouTube and stuff like that. Thought I'd give it a crack. I thought it would be on Steam. Definitely not. Took me about a day and a half to actually try and find the game. Finally found it. Downloaded it. Bought a $20 pack, which I think you and me were talking the other day. Execute that I got back in those days. Mean price for what I got. Gave it a couple of turns on the old PC that I had. Didn't really work in a lot.
hang on.
But
So,
the
I know
graphics,
I'm interrupting you. Just so people understand, he got a $30 Aurora ES pack that came with Squadron 42 and SE. Dan, you need to turn your sound down because my voice is coming back through your microphone.
sorry, mate.
Please, no, thank you. Yeah, continue your story.
Yeah. So then downloaded it. And then yeah, just carried on from there, and then finally thought I'd download it again, give it another shot, and yeah, loved it ever since. 3 days going, and go to work, and the first thing I want to do when I get back is want to jump on the game, and hopefully you guys are on and jam and do some missions.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the two things I took out of that was the pack that you got. That's just an insanely good deal. But this is a critical piece of information, I think, as veterans we need to take. A day and a half to find the game. That is insane. Now, Dan, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I'm going to guess a bit of it's got to do with the name of the website. Has that got anything to do? What made you take it? What was so difficult about finding it? Like you Googled Star Citizen and it didn't come up? Like, are you an invalid? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what it was. Like,
No, definitely not. No, so pretty much, you got the game Star Citizen, but I think back in the time, like when I was looking for it, it had two different things. So you were looking for the game Star Citizen, and that's all that came up. Right. Not the Robert Industries, where sort of you get everything else, and that was the most confusing thing about it. I was trying to look. I was watching YouTube videos, and I couldn't find anything until I accidentally stumbled across it. And I think there was one of the comments. It was So that's why it took me so long to find it.
Yeah. Hang on, I'll turn this off real quick. But yeah, this is one of the things I find really weird, right? If you type in Star Citizen, not .tools.com, what the hell what are they doing there? That's ridiculous.
I rest my case.
Why don't they own this?
Yeah.
And this proves my point. You look at Star Citizen and that's what you get. Or you get sent to a whole lot of other stuff. It's
yeah. I can't think of, like, at the moment I'm looking at switching broadband provider. That is easier than finding this game, figuring out which package I need.
Yeah, see. Sorry, I know I'm not interrupting, but look, I went to squadron42.com and it redirected to here. Why don't they own starcitizen.com and it redirects as well? That's my whole point. It doesn't have to be starcitizen.com. It's just that when you put in starcitizen.com, it should take you to like here, and it doesn't do that. I don't understand. Sorry, Badges, to interrupt you, but yeah. Please continue.
No, yeah, absolutely. Just saying, switching broadband provider, or arranging an engineer to come across, do I get to keep my number, all this sort of stuff is easier, I found, than coming to this game as a complete noob, i.e. knowing nothing about it, not watching anything, just go, Star Citizen, I've had that, I'm going to Google it. It's like, what package do I need? Well, there's no explanation that there's hybrid packages, there's no explanation that it's two separate games. You get that choice when you first log in of, do you want to see about Star Citizen, do you want to see about Squadron 42? But there's no indication that they're linked. I mean, that's no different to going to Blizzard's website and seeing StarCraft alongside Warcraft alongside Diablo. There's no indication that they're linked at all.
Yeah, and
so unfortunately, Dan, I think your experience is going to be very
common.
Very much familiar to a lot of people who've come and look at this. Yeah. And I would be really interested to know, not that you could find this out, how many people have bounced off Star Citizen because of it.
Yeah. I also like what people are saying in chat too. Like someone said it's like a troll situation. Axis 0096, I think, said that. No, that was Crystal King said that. But with that, I don't know what it's like in America, but in Australia, if you are found to be like, so say I made a domain called BurgerKing.com, Burger King can actually come along and just take it. Under the government would give it to them. So I don't know what it's like in the States, but yeah. So
Yeah.
I'd have to assume there'd be some kind of legal recourse where they could just go, this guy wants an absorbent amount of money, but he only took the domain. He took the domain after we created the game, so he's literally. And you got to be honest. Look, man, Star Citizen's a pretty damn unique name. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that. That's the case. You know what? You guys all failed. I just remember. I didn't start the bot. It's all your fault.
I did message you. I was going to drop it into chat anyway, but yeah.
All right. I'm starting.
What's really interesting, I don't know if anyone's seen
thanks, Dan.
this.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, late reminder.
Right.
Thanks.
I don't know if anyone's seen this. Did anyone see today Morphologist video about the Eradicator and Star Atlas?
Oh yeah,
No.
I already know about that because I've been talking to Eradicator about it. Yeah.
So this is really interesting because Eradicator basically looked at Star Atlas, which, for those that haven't seen it, and I'm sure we all have, but for those that haven't seen it, Star Atlas is a game in space, boasting a lot of the same things that Star Citizen's boasting, but it's all based around NFTs, right? Non-fungible tokens, and that's what your ships are. And a couple of them, I mean, it's like everything, right? Like Star Citizen ships look close to Eve ships, look close to, all that sort of stuff. What's the other one? What's the other big space sim?
Eve? No, sorry.
There's Eve, and then there's the Elite Dangerous.
Yep.
So everything kind of looks similar, and so do some of Star Atlas's. But he just pointed out these guys don't have game development background, which is no bad thing.
Yeah.
If you're in charge, because it means you keep focus on everything. Thanks, Crystal King. Yeah, that one. But yeah, so he's basically done that. They took his video down with a YouTube copyright strike.
Yep.
And then the CEO of this company that has taken millions of dollars in terms of NFTs and stuff, then just took to publicly attacking him on Twitter.
Yep.
Morphologist's video has got it. But it's things like that because I know people get defensive about their own games, and I get it. Well, more competition in space games is a good thing because it means you've got to stay ahead of the competition.
So let's put this really simply, right? You know how close we are as a community. I saw this coming because it basically started out with Eradicator, and he came onto a stream where I was there with DG, and it went from DG, and I just saw it go from, and it's now hit Morph, and like now it's hit Morph, it's probably right in front of almost every single. It'll go in front of CIG, and if CIG ever talk, they won't talk about it, but if they did, say they put it on ISC, you've just brought the whole weight of this community to bear on Star Atlas, and Star Atlas is dead. Yeah. Like, it's gone. We're just going to badmouth the shit out of it. Well, we've been badmouthed for years, so we know how to badmouth like the best of them, so... Now, and no gamer wants NFT shit. And like everything, I don't know if you've seen what DG said, right? But DG said it really eloquently. He goes, you don't go to investors to build a game, you go to the gamers. And that just covers it in a nutshell. Like investors will get you in the door, but the gamers are the people who are going to stay. And if you look at Star Citizen, we're the people that have carried it along, Yeah. So.
Absolutely.
We are the investors.
We are. And not just in money, we also invest our time,
Yes.
So yeah, I think he's made, like, he's attacked thinking him was a no one or a nobody, right? And it was actually his second channel, and he didn't know that. But it wouldn't matter if it was, a guy that had 20 videos or like Morphologist, and I think that's why Morph has done the video. Quite honestly, I haven't seen the video because I just woke up, type of thing. But I'm gonna go watch it after today's stream, and I'm pretty sure, like, knowing Morph like I do, he's a pretty humble guy. He's just gone, right, this is not on. If I know Morph like I do, that's what the video was. His motivation.
That for me, right? Eradicator's got the power of his primary channel, right? So he's got up to 18,000 subs, I think, something like that. So he's got. Yeah, he's got that channel that he's in, and that's his primary. For me, considering looking at Star Atlas and doing a reaction to it and all that sort of stuff, I'm just gonna stay away from it. Why would I risk? Why would I risk my channel in a community strike against a vindictive CEO? Because I'm, one of the things I've done, and I know it's a core of Inforunners as well, which is why I was so keen to join you guys when you approached me, is it's all about honesty. Like, I'm not going to sacrifice what I say for, just to get clicks or whatever else. So, I'm going to be honest about stuff. And that's why I'm always very keen to say to people, look, if you want it, go buy it. It's all about, that sort of stuff. And I kind of shy away from the money side a little bit because I'm not up as you and Algared are on all the comparisons or the values. So I just shy away from it. It's the easiest way to do things for me, right?
But we're still dragging, kicking and screaming.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But it's things like if the only way I can look at Star Atlas is by being positive about it, then I'm not going to do it because it only takes one video where you are blatantly false in what you say to lose the confidence in everyone who comes to see what you've got to say about anything. Why would you do that? It's so that they've killed themselves, I think. In terms of the community for a little while at least.
Well,
it just remains to see how he reacts to it now, and hopefully we get some sort of a look. I was drunk, or some sort of.
Well, you've essentially alienated, like as I said, like it doesn't look good on the surface level, and then again, like we are pretty close knit community, so of course we're going to kind of go to bat for Eradicator, no matter like, and it wouldn't. We have controversial people, and I'm not saying he's controversial. I'm just saying it doesn't matter who it is. If you, it's the devil type of thing. So if even the worst of us in this community would still go to bat for, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
because
we spent so long with everyone saying things that are not false, that are scam citizen, all that sort of stuff. You can't help but be defensive because it's been all right, let's say the first 2 years, no one was really on that line. But it's been 8 years of people going, this is all false.
So Crystal King in chat goes, they messed with a borderline cult.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. That was funny as well.
Yeah. That sells it in there. But again, like, why would you come out so imminently in defense of it when everything he said was true? There wasn't any lies in what he said. There wasn't a single thing. And again, like everything that DG said as well, I totally agree with, because you don't target at the financiers for a game, and it doesn't look like a game. Like not that I'm going to do it because I don't want a channel strike, but I've actually sat there, right? If you can go look at the Star Atlas trailer, the person that I would love to sit down and do it with, but we would get a content strike, is Grim, right? So Grim does video production for a living, and I did a lot of that art stuff back when I did game development as well. But I can tell you now, there was a lot of cheap cuts in that, right? Like some of the effects they've used is just nasty, right? There's no it's made cheap and nasty. It looks really good, but if you know about camera angles and stuff like that, it's been made really quickly. Right, so whoever they got to make it's just designed to sell you to spend money. But again, if you know smoke and mirrors and some cool little tricks, you can make it look way better than it actually is. And that's it. Like when I looked at the video, I just went, nope, I'm out. I just, as soon as I saw it, I went, this is cheap and nasty. The product's going to be cheap and nasty. It's all about money and revenue raising. And let's be honest, it's been around 12 months now. What new do they have? Have they shown besides like concept images? Like if you look at Star Citizen, they were showing stuff from day one, like new stuff every day, until people started not understanding how development worked and they started closing that down. But even then, after a year, you go back and look at the early days of Star Citizen. Look at that first video on Kickstarter with Chris. That actually had in-game assets and doing stuff. They don't have any of that. Right, so that tells me there's a massive disconnect, and if they don't have developers, how are they making a game? So they're just what are they doing? Setting up all this money just to buy a game company? Like,
What about Dan and John? Is Star Atlas something that's crossed your radar, fellas?
I've spoke to people about it, but it's not something I was really interested in, to be honest with you. Star Citizen is my main gaming at the moment. I do play other games now and again, but I'm on Star Citizen every day. I'm at home.
John doesn't leave his home, so that. No.
Yes, I do.
I'm joking. No, he goes out every day to walk Bill. Yeah.
To be honest, this is actually the first space game that I've actually played. Oh, to be honest, I've never been a space game type of guy. I've always been your World War II first-person shooter games.
Nice.
But to be honest, once getting onto this and actually playing with people that actually know what they're doing, it's changed my whole perspective on gaming, to be honest.
Just to interrupt, who else have you been playing with then besides me and X?
No one, just you two.
Well, I thought you said people who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
You've been
Well, you are. Yeah, I don't know sometimes, John. But X most definitely, yeah.
So that usually goes the other way, where I get all the insults. It's about time someone cracked on John for a change.
It's like Crystal King's got it right, and I think Morphologist, said something similar in his video where it's like anything. I mean, I learned about Star Citizen in 2013.
Right.
When I was at work. I remember coming into the people I was working with and look, guys, you'll never guess what I found. And we instantly crowded around. We had an internet terminal in work in the store, and we brought this thing up, and I showed them the Kickstarter video. And I was just like, guys, you've got to see this. And that was it then. We were all kind of like reading through the stretch goals and all that sort of stuff. But I didn't back it because it was all, at that point, it was all wishful thinking and much in the future. And I've kind of looked at Star Atlas the same. And, Crystal King says in chat, the Hangar module wasn't very impressive. Yep. UE5 is a great engine, agreed. Star Atlas could be a great game if it gets a proper dev team. And absolutely, I don't disagree with any part of that. I just think, Star Atlas need to realize they've had a very public spat. This wasn't something in private. This wasn't behind closed doors and someone bringing out emails to go, look how they responded to me. This was on Twitter. You don't get, aside from going into the center of whichever city you live in and just screaming it in the streets, it doesn't get much more public than that.
Real quick.
They shouldn't be treating people like that.
Axis is trying to get your attention in chat, John, in the YouTube chat. So if you wanted to reach out to him.
Hi, Axis. No, I wasn't ignoring you.
He just hasn't had a chance to talk. I was going to say too, what do you think about this Lego? But for some reason I can't go to the actual... Like, it doesn't work. It just keeps giving me a 404 error. Typical website crap. But that looks pretty cool, yeah? No? That's the best one I've seen for the PTV, but I don't know, whatever. If anyone can link me the real one of that, or link me some really good ones, I've had looked through the, I'm a big fan of the 3D prints. I gotta be honest, like those ones that came up at the start. Like, if you know anything about 3D printing, that Tanner would have been a pain in the butt to print. That one that was at, oh god, I gotta go all the way back, don't I? Where was it? There, that would have been a pain in the butt to print this one. So yeah, this.
Why did they kick out the PTV vote?
It's not kicked out. What are you talking about?
Somebody in chat just Axis said they have kicked out the PTV vote. They removed the PTV from running.
They made a
we're all
post
trolls,
today.
John.
No, they made a post today. Because the PTV is so old, they actually need to redevelop the asset to work with a new paint system. It's that old.
Oh, Roger.
Well, that means the mules won. And John Crew is really happy about it because it means it requires so little work because it's such a small vehicle. It basically means the mule's going to win. Unfortunately, the mule doesn't hold the same appeal to me as the PTV does. The PTV for me was because it was the old, like it's been there since the beginning. Yeah, and way more of a meme than the mule. Actually, after the last few days, John, with me and you playing, I would actually say the one, and it might fall into the same case as the PTV, John, but I would say the Ursa Rover. Because I don't think there's any skins for it, John. We were talking about this, weren't we, yesterday?
There was, but you had to buy one for real money to get a skin with it.
Yeah. It was the emerald one, or whatever. So there's like a green one of it and the white one, and that's it. So the thing is, if it's at least got one coloured skin, they could do it. Yeah, but the reason they don't want to do the skin for the PTV is they can do a skin for it because the old system's there, right? They just don't want to redo the work. That's why they're removing it off the thing. Because the other reason why they're removing it off the thing is it's only worth $15. So they can bring out that bullshit about why they're removing it off the thing, but the real reason they're doing it is they're just worried they're not going to make enough money because it's only $15. That's why they're doing it. It's so obvious to me. Like, they can pull out all that bullshit, but if there's already skins in the game, it's just, well...
Well, they've also said that everyone will get the skin for the PTV. It will get a special skin when it gets its rework next year. And there was also a hint of a variant.
Oh, that's nice of them. That is nice.
There is an Ursa Fortuna, which is like, is that a bluish one?
No, so the Fortuna one that SA's talking about is the green one. That's.
Is it?
Actually, I can
okay.
Look, just because you're old, John, we'll Ursa Fortuna.
So kind of you to point out my age every second you can.
Well, I've got to do something to bring you down a peg,
It's
John.
It's not hard, John. It's just in your voice, mate.
Yeah. So can you see this, John, or not?
See what, John? Yes. No, there's another colour besides that.
Really?
Yeah, Midnight Bard has got one, and it's not green.
Let me have a look at it. Ursa skins. Okay.
But as I'm colour shade blind, I could be wrong.
So because I'm on stream though, John, we might have to look at this after stream. But unless someone in chat can tell me that there is the name of it, I think we'll leave it there because yeah, I can't see it, John. But yeah.
Okay.
Is anyone?
Sorry, just while we're talking, Crown 8, I believe that is. Can you just, because chat moves quite quickly after a while once we've got a few more people in, can you just cut and paste what you've just asked, but put question in there somewhere so we can come back to it? That's a really good question, and I'd love the opportunity to have a chat about that later on.
Yeah.
It's not. I saw the question go past earlier about what we were talking about when we was in your Centurion yesterday or the day before, about the basis for it.
Yeah. So for me, I don't know about you guys. I want your honest feedback there. Would you rather something like the Mule win, which already has a bunch of skins, or would you rather something like the Ursa that has next to none? I don't know. You tell me. Or it doesn't have the same appeal.
The Ursa, because I do like that. I like carrying that about the Andromeda when you're doing bunkers.
The Mule, I think the only problem with the Mule is it's too solo. If the Mule could hold 2 people, I think you'd be on a winner there, right? And that the only other vehicle kind of like that's the Cyclone, and it just doesn't have the same storage some of the other has. Do you know someone actually brought this to my attention too, and I've only just remembered it. Actually picking ships for the competition based on the fact that they get discounted Warborn CCUs. And I didn't even think of that until someone said it to me the other day. So if we actually were clever enough to vote up the 5 ships that were somehow in a row, you could actually get an insanely good Warborn CCU chain. I didn't even think of that. That's kind of crazy, yeah? If we actually like rig the system to go, oh yeah, it just happens to beat these 5. It's, like that could be really funny.
You've got some more gotchas in there, so you better explain what's happened to Algared.
Yeah.
Abducted by aliens. We're trying to get him back, but it's not as easy as it sounds.
While we're on this, we were talking about thumbnails, and Badges was suggesting this one. I'm just going to open this so you guys can see. He was suggesting this, and the guy on the right, he said, put Algared's head there, or Algared in a wheelchair like old man Hurston.
No, I didn't say in a wheelchair. I meant the portrait that you had on your T-shirt. Just have it at an angle, like he's being kicked into...
Yeah,
not in a wheel, you sadist.
And then you can put Hurston Liberation Front on the guy that's kicking him into the pit.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Crown 8. Cheers, appreciate it. We'll come back to that shortly.
So I thought it was being fairly, it's very hard to think of clickbait titles, right? But clickbait titles, like no matter what you say, right? They work. I hate that they work, all right? And I think most people will say, oh, I can't believe I fell for that. But they just work. It's so stupid how we are animals at the end of the day. We are just animals. That is it. And I hate that you have to pander to this algorithm, but that's the game you got to play.
Yeah.
And that's just how it works. And I'm not even talking from a money perspective, because I think you guys probably know from how bad I am at self-promotion, talking about liking, subscribing, and all that stuff. It's not about that. It's literally like, if you want to grow your channel, you have to play their game because they want the money. So yeah, this buddy thing has done it. So Badger's got me install this mod that shows us all this analytics stuff, and yeah, it's like showing all this stuff. I'm gonna have to turn that off somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault.
Yeah, Pappy. I'm an Al fan as well, so
yeah,
I feel quite happy that he asked me to come on, because Al couldn't make it, even though I'm not anywhere near as good as Al.
I mean, you might be an Al fan, but it didn't stop you laughing when I talked about Sparta kicking him off there.
That was funny. There was no ifs and buts about it. That was funny.
Yeah, it was very funny. I'm sure
Agred's violin away.
I'm sure Agred might rewatch this stream and he's going to love the chat and just hate on us. He'll be calling. I can already hear him going, "You bastard!" Yeah.
just Agred, mate. This is just for you, and you know I love you, but that's for the love heart background.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. All right then. So I'm going to kick it off over to ISC. I think now we've got a few people here, and it's probably one of the longest starts we've had. But we'll kick it across. So I've got to switch these boys over so they can actually hear. So just give me 2 seconds. This one, clicking you boys over. All right, here we go, and we'll be full screening.
Our goal for the last half year has been to figure out how to build additional cave archetypes. Not only trying to establish the visual, but also define a new workflow on how we can make better looking, better performing caves. The new workflow we've figured out for the caves is much more artist friendly, and to a point even where designers can make entire cave rooms without necessarily needing an artist to do any work. The designer could go in and build like a white box room and send this to the Houdini process, which would then return an almost finished cave room. For the first release, there will be new sand caves on Staymire, which is like the prime candidate, being a very desert planet, but they will also...
I don't know about you boys, but I want to Sarlacc pit. Just after saying that. Yeah.
So be going on Magda.
He seems very quiet to me. I don't know about anybody else.
Sorry, who's quiet?
That while you were screening that, he seemed very quiet, or maybe it was just the way he was talking.
Oh, it's very loud for me.
Turn your hearing aid up, John.
Yeah, he's very loud for me, John. I actually had to turn him down. He's that loud. So yeah.
Okay.
Ita. Voila.
Sort your camera out, mate.
One thing we really liked about the old caves was that they always had this feeling of claustrophobia, and we tried to keep that in some regards. Another thing that was always a concern with the old ones was that it was very bumpy to walk through them. So one thing we definitely improved on is walking through them and traversing the space is much smoother and feels nicer in general.
That's quite an improvement.
That's huge lighting improvement. For sure. Yeah. And it seems to be a lot more, you know, when you go into the caves at the moment, there's a real disparity light change as you go from the surface to below.
Yes.
This feels a lot more connected. I don't know if you, yeah, we'll see. All right.
Also, we added a lot more natural light sources, so you will have much more cinematic experiences going through them.
What did I just say?
For the first release, there will be no missions, but this hopefully very soon will be remedied shortly. And also for the first release, the caves will be...
That's a lot more art. Did you notice all those stalactites?
Yeah.
Like, so they've definitely gone through and actually made rocks just for caves. Because they don't appear on this. Well, we might have a planet that has rocks like that, but like on Earth, we don't have rocks like that unless they're underwater. Underground, sorry, underwater.
Be remedied shortly. And also for the first release, the caves will be walkable on foot only, like no vehicle entrances, no ship entrances, but the workflow is flexible enough to accommodate those once we get to those. Like this first release is mostly about showing the community the visual we've developed for this archetype. Additional archetypes that are we are scheduled to work on in the next 1 year. It's going to be the rock archetype, which will replace the existing caves. Then we also have the acidic archetype, which will fit into Ariel and less parts of Stanton, where you have those bubbling acid pools, or salt or sulfur pools. Then there's also the ice archetype, which will be great for Microtech and its moons, for example. And the last one that's actually scheduled is the overgrown one, which will also work well on Microtech in the forests and on Hurston.
So that's essentially just more different cave types, yeah. But that's good, because at the moment we only really do have the deserty type one, don't we? So, yeah.
We as a team are quite proud of the experience we managed to achieve with the new cave archetype that's coming out. It was really fun for us to do and make this excursion and try to figure out all the problems that come with that. We're looking forward to building all the other archetypes as well. The established workflow now, which should go much faster and hopefully result in some really cool looking new places the player can experience.
Alpha 3.18 is slated to bring with it a number of new aspects to the persistent universe. From the new rivers, the arena racetrack, the Korea revamp, the prison additions, and new sand caves that we've already discussed this quarter, to the cargo refactor, hull scraping, and persistent entity streaming, and more that we'll be covering over our next 5 weeks. But occasionally, we like to look even farther ahead and explore the earliest prospects of work that's only now just beginning. And this week, we've got Star Citizen Live game director Todd Pappy to share with us plans for our new player experience, the first in-game tutorial since Old Gunny tried to help us pilot our way out of the asteroid hangar oh so long ago.
John is just like you. He's getting older. Anyway.
Shut up. Yeah, but I've got an excuse. What's yours?
The scale and scope of our game, there's a huge learning curve. Obviously, our community's been fantastic, with the help and support for the new players coming on.
Can you take that back a bit? For that explosion. What's that explosion which went on there?
Well, if you weren't talking, John, you would have heard it. So he's basically just talking about the new player experience, John.
The scale and scope of our game, there's a huge learning curve. Obviously, our community's been fantastic, with the help and support for the new players coming on. I think with any game of any size, there needs to be some sort of new player experience to help break down those barriers. We used to have step-by-step, and more story-based.
It's going to seem like I planned this with you, Dan, but we're going to have questions after this, Stan. I didn't even know this was a part of the ISC, but it's a good thing we got you here, man. So we'll see how it goes.
Style introduction, for players, and the issue with that is, as soon as any new mechanics came online or anything like that, then we'd have to go in and basically rebuild it and adjust it, and the upkeep on it was really time-consuming.
Still waiting. I'm Lucas Baramsko, but everyone knows me as Gilly.
With our new player experience aspect that we're working towards, it's really taking the player not only from basically the front end and having choices there so that the player can either opt in or opt out, but it's training them in their hab, it's training them to their first store, it's training them over to the spaceport, how to get out of the hangar, get into your ship, where do you need to click in the cockpit.
Self-destruct activated.
Then from there, doing some very light missions to basically kind of get you up to speed with ship combat as well as FPS combat. Right now,
yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like, I got this. Poof. No.
Working towards FPS HUD that is being built for S42, so that it's got basically contextual hints that are up all the time, and you're in different states. So it's basically player interaction experience that.
So the other thing you can take from that is the HUD is one of the final things that goes into a game before it like it's one of the final things, because if you're obviously changing the HUD all the time, you don't know all the final things that are in the game before you make it. So the HUD is one of the last things that go in. So that's a really good sign that Squadron 42 is nearing completion. So just want to add that.
That we're working on, and we've spec'd out, for S42 as well as for the persistent universe. So we're waiting on them to do the first pass on the HUD and first pass on the system, and then from there that trickles down to us. We need to reskin it and do it.
So yeah, they're literally developing it. So that basically means that's like a programmer version of the HUD, but then they'll update it with the better art and stuff like that. So that's a little bit back than what I thought it was, but I'm just saying that it still means we're rounding that final corner on the racetrack, so to speak. Yeah, right.
Regarding the subsumption hooks and everything like that, we've already got all that spec'd out. The teams are working towards that right now. Front end experience, we just need to make sure that one of our team from USPU works on that and builds that out. Then there's all the signage and everything like that in our landing zones. Our branding team is going through and looking at that experience and doing the test on Area 18 at first, and then we'll be taking that to Lorville, New Babbage, and Horizon. It's a work in progress right now, but we're really working towards getting this out to the players, and this is just like a smaller bite size new player experience, and we'll be working on a much larger experience when we get closer to switching this over to beta.
Even mentioned it there with the beta. So yeah.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the EU Sandbox 2 team continues to build out the world beneath Star Citizen's worlds with new cave types including sand, acid, and soon ice. And that all those players out there currently helping new citizens get their start in the verse have help on the way as the new player experience continues to develop into the next year. Now don't forget that Ship Showdown is still underway, and it's your chance to determine the best of Star Citizen ships and vehicles. And if you haven't seen some of the commercials and songs that have been created by the community, do yourself a favor and check those out. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all here next week.
Okay. My thoughts on the cave straight off the bat was where my brain went, and you guys tell me, is I just went to Hoth on The Empire Strikes Back with John in the cave, with Luke in the cave. John in the cave upside down sounds appealing though. Yeah.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
But yeah, what
in the nicest possible way. If John's in the cave, I'm not going in the cave.
Yeah, John's
the outside.
John's the Yeti thing, isn't he? Yeah. So what were your thoughts there on the caves? Like that, we've had caves for so long now. They're like what, 2 years, and I don't know. Yeah. What's your thoughts there? Do you, I can see the need to add those out and go from just desert to. They talked about overgrown as well, so that's obviously for forest areas and stuff like that. They talked about acid pool ones underneath, so I can. You remember when we first saw those concepts and they had all the glowworms on the top of the cave and stuff like that?
Yeah. I'm
wondering if we'll actually finally get those. So
they were in at one stage.
Glowworms?
Yeah. You had they. If you turned your torch off in some of the caves, looked up at the ceiling, they were all there, weren't they?
Really?
I seem to remember something along those lines. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I'm having a senior moment, but okay, sure.
you have lots of those, but don't worry about it. But what I was hoping for when they were showing the caves was that you would find artifacts from ancient civilizations.
Well, he did mention that there's no quests in there or missions. I think they could be good. Yeah. But they'll come in time. So yeah, John, I would fully start to see other quests and missions cross-pollinating. You know, so like a box delivery into a cave or out of a cave. I want to see missions that are multi-part. So you blow up a ship, the box falls to the planet, you pick up the box and you've got to deliver it to somewhere. Or, or you see where I'm going with that? Like, so they're not just, one segment. You could add them together. So there's a combat part, there's a medical part, there's a humanitarian part. So the box you deliver to someone that's hungry or something like that. Like, I could see all that'll come too, because they have talked about it in other stuff. But those, for me, the missions in this game were really cool. How they were generated, and they did cross-pollinate and stuff like that. So you're not going to feel like you're doing the same mission every single time. I think that's really important. We'll have to wait and see on that regard.
A bit like the drug missions where you had to go to 2 or 3 places, deliver it, get it worked on, take it somewhere else, and then go and sell it.
Dan, how does that appeal to you? New types of caves, these ones made of sand instead of rock? As a new player?
As long as you can't get stuck in them, I'm all for them.
Yeah,
quick
absolutely.
Question, Dan. Have you actually been in a cave yet?
Not yet, John. No, I have not. No. So I can't.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Yeah. To be honest, it looks absolutely fantastic. You know, onwards and upwards, I say. Can't really fault anything on those, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, so I was part of another conversation about caves, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about it. But they were talking about, I think they were talking about the mining changes. So for people that don't know, when you mine Hadonite now in the caves, every chunk that you pick up is the value of what it says on the terminal. So it's whatever it is, 150 AUEC.
Right.
Whereas the slightly less valuable stuff like the Aphorite and the Dolivine, one chunk is multiple micro SCU. So actually now filling your bag full of Dolivine will make you more money than filling your bag full of Hadonite. At least that's what it seems.
Initially, anyway.
So, yeah, because I picked up more chunks of Hadonite than I did Dolivine, and yet made a killing on the Dolivine, not on the Hadonite. I don't know if that's something that they bugged and fixed, or whether that's intentional. But it kind of would make sense, right, that you would find the more valuable stuff in lesser quantities. But one of the things that came up in that conversation was the idea of putting down beacons to, like, scan a cave system out. And I love the idea. You were talking about missions, John. I love the idea of doing that, and then you pick up movement in the caves. Because there are times in there where I know they're trying to make it sound like pebbles fall from the ceiling, but boy, oh boy, does it not sound like claws scrabbling over rock.
Yes.
There are moments where I'm on my own and I'm genuinely uncomfortable, and I'm like, I'm just going to sprint. I'm not going to turn around. I'm just going to get out of the cave. So yeah, there's a lot they can do with them, but yeah, it's more variation, which is no bad thing. I like that they said right at the beginning that they're building the system up to the point where designers can grey box stuff out and the artists don't need to get involved because all the assets will do that for them. And they put it through the Houdini process and it comes up, and then they've just got like the last checks to make and the adjustments to make sure it's all movable. And like Dan said, that you don't get stuck and incredibly frustrated by it. But yeah, whoever said, oh yes, Connor L said in chat, just please Lord, no more find the lost body missions. Agreed. I'm right there with you, mate.
To be honest, sorry, just quickly, I don't know if they do it in the game, because, third day playing, but it would be actually really cool if they brought in something where you could actually rappel down into a ravine. I don't know if they actually have that, but, it would actually be really cool to actually do that, and, you're hanging there, and you can look around and so forth and so on just by a rope. So I think that would be cool if they actually brought that in at some point, if that was ever a thing.
So I'm just reading this Grey Cat PTV update that Ken linked me. And yeah, as you said, they are doing a top to bottom rework, and a special place in our hearts because it was the first vehicle in game. Everyone's getting a free skin, as he said. But the also cool thing is a member of our community, Orthamon, is actually getting a special reward. Awesome, dude. That's really, really cool. So if he ends up getting like a unique skin or something like that, I'll be hella jealous. So yeah, awesome. Good to see, because he's the one that did this, and I think he went that. That was the first real one.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, that was the first one that and he was actually linking it on our chat as he was painting it and stuff in the Discord. So yeah, awesome work. Put the little hat on
well
it.
Done,
from
fella.
the
That's
yeah, good on you, man.
That's quality. I like that.
Good to see you getting the recognition. So yeah, good to see.
Yeah.
All right, I think we'll get into some of the questions. We don't have too many questions, but as we always say here, we will be answering questions until they run out. And then
just before we jump through, X, do we want to talk about the new player experience stuff?
Oh, sorry. Yes, my bad. Sorry. Let's do that.
No worries.
So, we did talk a little bit about the website, Dan. What was your initial problems when you got into the game? So I know when I took you into your ship and showed you how to fly the ship, that was the first time you'd actually kind of flown the ship, and I had to literally talk about, you know, space and control and WSAD and stuff like that. But can you, like, before I met you, so from the time you launched the game to you met me, can you tell us about that? Or is there anything
there
before,
was a whole lot of...
Was there trouble installing it or anything like that as well?
No, I think pretty much having the right computer for the job is the first thing that you really need to do, because obviously the graphics and so forth, you know, with the game. But when I got into the game and downloading it, to be honest, I was just lost. If you don't know, like if you don't watch YouTube videos or if you don't meet anyone, like my first 20 minutes of playing the game, I was just running around and I did not know anything. I did not know what to do. There was a lot of button pushing to try and find out what to do. And I think for a newcomer to the game, that's frustrating because you know you spent money on this game, but you don't know how to play it. Even though there's obviously things to look up. 9 times out of 10, you're spending up to 4 to 5 hours just trying to figure out how to play a game that you just bought.
Yeah. And I did say to you at the time, it was fairly rare to meet someone that had brought himself into SC. Like, because most of the people we met was like, oh, my friend brought me into the game, but he's not here at the moment or something like that. So as I said to Dan at the time, I said, I don't meet too many people that actually manage to find their way in. And I think that's the biggest barrier of entry, is everything. Dan, like, think about it, a day and a half, that's persistent. Like, Dan is a very persistent person, because I don't think most people would spend a day and a half. They would 5 minutes, let alone half an hour, but a day and a half is pretty crazy to me. And I don't mean that you're crazy, Dan. I mean that, like, that just shows how badly this game needs that website overhaul. They need to relook at the domain. How did you... Actually, that's a really good question. Let's start with the website for a second. How bad was that for you to navigate as a new player? Because that thing, like... I've tried to analyze it as a veteran, and it seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, like you've seen, like, you've had to take me through it multiple times, and like trying to figure out what you're doing to where you're going, and to trying to figure out just the aspects of the game. You know, there's a lot, like even trying to deal with the game itself, there's a lot. But then going onto the website, it's just like a whole new level. Like, you're playing the game and then you're dealing with the website. It's like, well, what the hell are you doing? You know, why can't the website be so much easier? You're already dealing with a game that's like so far-fetched and so, you know, so full on. And then now you're trying to deal with a website that's just as full on. You know, sometimes it's confusing, and then you get flustered, then you get stuck, and then you just end up just, you know, walking away from your computer for 5 minutes due to the mere fact that you're flustered with the game and you're flustered with the website.
They need to make because there is a guide system which you can go in for. They need to make that a lot easier to find.
John, I actually brought that up to Dan, and I said, do you know there's a guide system, but they never tell anyone about it? Where do they tell new people that this thing exists? There is, like, think about it. When you sign up for your account, they don't tell you. When you get into the game, they don't tell you. You just have to find it on the website on your own. That is a huge
the only time I've seen
disconnect.
the only time I've seen it is when they do the step-by-step for people doing the free fly.
Yeah, but
and then right at the bottom, there's a sentence that says there's a guide program if you want a veteran to take you around and figure out what on earth is going on.
As Paul says,
but how do you even get into that, though?
As Paul says famously, gamers don't read. You know, like.
Oh, you're right. You're completely right. Like, you know, when I first joined, like I'm trying to, like, when I first joined, you know, down the bottom it's got all these things that pop up to tell you what to do. It's like, okay, cool. So what button's that for? And then you're finding that you're having to go into the keybinds, and then you're looking at your keybinds, and it's like, what the hell? There are so many keybinds to so many different things, and how are you supposed to remember them? Like, okay, cool if you're running two monitors, but I'm not. Like, I'm having to chop and change every 5 minutes to try and figure out or remember what keybind it is, or take pictures on my phone and then bring it up on my phone. You know, it's absolutely insane.
Well, stop being a cheapskate and buy another bloody monitor.
I think I'm going to be honest here. This website really has not changed much in 10 years. And I think it's a little bit too, I'm going to put it in a term that most people understand, arty-farty. I think it concentrates too much on visuals and not enough on dispersing of information. Now, there are other websites that go too far the other way and they're too far text heavy, but I actually think the compromise here is leave this website as it is, but when you know when you come in the first time and it brings up that panel and it talks about Squadron 42, they don't know what Star Citizen is, they don't know what Squadron 42 is, type of thing. It's like, are you a new player or something like that, you know, and would you like to look at possibly purchasing the game or something like that? It needs to be done in a more noob friendly way. And I almost think someone like Dan and then someone that's completely utterly new, they almost need to sit down with people like that and actually, you know, like, see the experience, because like I can't imagine how much the sales of this game would be even higher if people could get into it on their own. Because quite honestly, I'm surprised you made as far as you did, Dan. Like, I really am. And I'm not calling you an invalid or whatever, but like I think a lot of people would struggle. Yeah, from your experience, Dan.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you put it like? I don't even know how to. Do you rate it? Like how do you like the difficulty level? What do you, compared to, say, a game like, you go on Steam? How would you rate this as opposed to a Steam experience? That's probably the best way to do it. Yeah.
Well, you know, rating this game out of a Steam experience, Steam, you can easily, you know, that's piece of piss. You can go on Steam, you download the game, and it tells you what the game's about, and, you know, it gives you a little bit about it, and then you download it, then pretty much you're into the game, and within, 5 minutes, you know what you're doing, and so forth and so on. Where this game, it's on a whole new level. You know, it's like going from driving a little Class 2 box truck to a truck and trailer unit, you know? Steam is the box truck. This is a truck and trailer unit. You know, so many different things, so many more buttons, so many more gears, so many everything.
I love how you assumed all of us understand your truck references as you're a truck driver. I didn't get any of that, but that's totally fine. But the way I look at it, you correct me if I'm wrong. With Steam, you have Steam, so you go in, there's a storefront, you purchase the game, it automatically installs, and then you're off and playing, right? This is more akin to that. You've actually got to you got to find the Steam website, download the Steam launcher, then run the game. So it's actually, because it's not there, it's like Steam from scratch, like you've never used Steam before. But Steam is easy to find. Like, you go, look at this. If I go to steampowered.com, which is, obviously they don't have the best name website either, right? But look, as soon as you get there, it says install Steam on the top. Right? That's kind of what I'm talking about. You need to have that install Star Citizen.
There needs to be, from what they were talking about, you know, there needs to be the two levels, and part of it is what we're talking about now, which is they need, I mean, if you look at the way Blizzard does its store, for example, it's like, hey, here's the latest expansion, it buys you everything before it, you know, and here's the versions that you can buy, so here's limited, here, or, you know, here's the basic, here's the advanced, here's the super expensive for no real reason. And then it takes you to, you know, extra stuff that you can buy. And, you know, and it will say in there somewhere, this includes access to Classic, access to all the previous expansions, access to this, that, and the other. And we need something like that, you know, where it's very clear. Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are linked games, but, you know, one will get you access to the other, and you know, because I'd imagine there's people who've gone out there and they've gone and bought one and then the other and not realised that there are combo packs that get you a discount.
And we're not even getting into things like LTI and the insurance and any of that stuff that just confuse new players.
I can give you a classic example of when I started.
What, the Abacus doesn't count, John?
Yes, it does.
Right.
Nor does the sundial, John.
I actually spawned in Lawville, got out the hub, got to the lift, and I was stuck in the lift about 15 minutes because I didn't realise you could scroll down until somebody came into the lift, stood there, scrolled down, and took me down to the lobby.
Yeah, actually, funnily enough, Dan did the same thing. He didn't know you could scroll. Remember that, Dan? And I said, you're trying to go to like hangar 9 or something, and it was only going to hangar 8. And I said, yeah, you got to scroll. And he was like, oh, I'm scrolling. So, yeah.
You know, I think I'll step up my plans for this, but I've been thinking about a video along this line, the tutorial line, for a while.
I'm going to be honest. I have 2.
Go on.
I have 2.
Yeah.
So
it might be something that we look at doing together, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But, and do a 2-parter on both channels or something. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, all of us here, guys in chat, Dan, John, you know, all of us, we're effectively being drip fed this. So, you know, everyone will jump on salvage because it's something new to do. Even if that, you know, and that some people will go, yeah, I don't like it, and go back to whatever they're doing. But we're being drip fed the game loops. So when the game launches, we're going to have experience of most of them if you keep playing up until launch. The people coming in are going to be like, what do you mean I don't just come up and right-click on the rock and wait 3 seconds and then all the mining stuff automatically ends up in my inventory? It's like, no. You've got power levels and you're going to have to manually do it. And, you know, it's not just a case of hold F or space to complete action. And that, when you consider all the game loops, for new players, it's going to be overwhelming. And when I first approached Eve, my first attempt at Eve lasted a day. Because I had no idea of where to start. I was looking at all these certificate, you know, the certification trees. I was like, I don't even know what I want to drive battleships. How do I drive battleships? Where am I going? What am I learning? What's good? What's not? You know, are there?
That's when I checked out of Eve, when I realized when it was all time based and it was going to take me 2 months to get to even a half decent ship. I'm like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yes. And when you're approaching the game like this, when you have such choice, but such depth in each of the choices,
don't make me slap you, Drazen.
They are going to have to approach something. You know, they're going to have to approach it in a new and interesting way to keep people, because nobody wants to do tutorial. Like every gamer, we all think we're above it, right? You go in and it's like, oh, look, this is the bit where I crouch under an obstacle. Oh, look, this is the bit where I vault over something. Oh, look, you're going to show me how to pick up a new gun now. And no matter how you try to disguise it, we'll see what you're doing, and it's dull.
Let's be honest. Most games, though, are like click E. Like, they're very samey, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest, just being on F, this game is different. And then you got the circle.
Yeah.
Like, this is a game, I think, like, because we've been here for a while, right? I think all of us would agree this does need the tutorial. And I can think of a few other games, like the one I'm thinking of, like, that I know you'll think of, and I'm thinking of Hunt Showdown and Tarkov. Same thing, where they're just slightly different, and they like, and the number of people in Hunt Showdown that have gone in and go, oh, I'm a PUBG champion for Southeast Asia or whatever, blah blah blah, and I go into the game with them and they run straight in, scare every bird under the sun, and they get instantly shot in the head and die. And I go, yeah, you're the champion of shit, dude. You know, but like,
yes, yeah. And I think that's going to be a massive challenge for them going forward, and I think, you know, it's going to be, you're going to see that evolve as we go through. What we get now is going to be very different from what we get at the end, just because they're going to have to go from, here are the few game loops, and we can feed you all of them at once, to, we have 16 game loops, and which one did you want to do again?
Just a side note for when we talk about this later, but if we do this, like, where it's almost like, see how I'm ahead like this, and we're playing in the game in the background where we don't do it live, we just do it a one-off recording, I think we could actually repetitiously update them too. So if we actually segment them out, and if one needs to be updated, we can just go jump back in the game, quickly record it, and replace it, type of thing. Because I think that's why there's not many tutorial videos, because people take ages editing the video, putting it all together, and then it just, a month later, it's next patch, it's dead, right?
Exactly.
So if we can structure it in a way that we don't have to edit it, maybe we can have a whole series of tutorials that we just update. I've talked about that later, but
I've noticed in a lot of games, like Squadron and the later games that are coming out, they have a separate area where you can try out different weapons, you can try out different vehicles and stuff like that. Maybe something they've got to look at for new players to go, well, hey,
ye of little timing in this game. Let me tell you the tale of the hangar. So basically, when the game first came out, they didn't even really have a game, so they had a hangar system where you could just like spawn your ship in and kind of walk and sit in it. So for like a couple of years, that's all we had. So you just sit and dream that one day you'd be able to fly it out the door. And you could actually spawn the PTV, which is the little grey cat, and kind of drive around in it, and that was about it. It was really not a lot for many years, but that you could. They did have I think they had a mounted turret at one point where you could shoot stuff, but they've never really, like you're saying, they've never really had a shooting gallery, and that is something they probably should add to the hangar. But we do know that they're looking, like the persistent hangars is something they've talked about a few times, so they are coming. So that whole hangar system's going to come in the game, and I really think, you guys correct me if you think I'm wrong, I do think that's, if they're ever going to add a shooting gallery type of thing, it'll be a thing that's added onto your hangar, and I think I think that's where we'll see it. And I do think from today and other things that we're seeing, unfortunately, Squadron 42, which is the single player game, it's just getting the lion's share of the love. So I think I think once that's out the door, I keep saying this, I feel like a broken record for like the last 4 years. Once that's out the door, I think you'll see a lot more love hit the PU. And I've also said, like, from the date of Squadron 42's release to like a year after that, there'll be a night and day difference between what the PU looks like now and then, because they actually have a lot more people working on it. We're literally, what you see of the game now, Dan, is the tip of the iceberg, because they never ever talk about the single player experience, but like, I don't know, pick a number, 90% of the people are working on that game. So we're only getting, this is literally a distraction to keep us busy. It's essentially a bigger hangar to keep us busy while they work on Squadron 42. That's why development appears to the outside world, like the media and all that. That's why they're like, oh, it's taken 10 years and they've done nothing. And it's because they've actually shown you nothing. That's it. So the appearance to people on the outside is this game is a scam, blah blah blah. But if you're actually like informed, and well, as a content creator we have to be, but if you're informed and you understand what's going on, you realize that you're seeing the tip of the iceberg. So I'll leave it at that. But
fair enough.
It makes it difficult for people to want to come into the game, because a lot of people say it's a scam. But did you ever hear, so you said you came in 2020, did you ever hear anything about the game being a scam before you looked into it? Dan?
To be honest, because I didn't know anyone, there were, like, the YouTubes going around, saying, oh, if you, for what the game is, they're asking a lot of money for it, so forth, so on. So just be careful unless this is the type of game that you're into, that sort of thing. But other than that, nothing really of a scam type stuff.
So what made you so persistent to get into it then? I'm really curious, because like, if you've heard, like, did you just stumble on, like you're like, I want to know what this is? Like, was it a bit of a mystery? Like, why did you take a day and a half? Like, was it a day and a half after you purchased, or was it a day and a half before you purchased? Like how did that all, just a little bit of that.
So like I said, so I was just, jamming YouTube, and as random videos come on, you watch one video and then it brings up a whole lot of others and so forth. Right. So on. And I was just watching gaming fails and all that sort of stuff, and then it actually came up with some of the gameplay from Star Citizen and gaming fails. People like desyncing and falling out of ships and so forth and so on, and all that sort of stuff. And then it really got me intrigued. It's like, well, these graphics are actually really good, so where can I actually find this game? So I want to actually know more about it. When you see something good, you want to know more about it, so you go hunting for it. And I will admit, I did give up a couple of times, and I was like, oh god, I can't be bothered. And then it got the better of me, and I was like, well, okay, I'll go again, and then I finally found it. So I found it, looked at the website, had a look, and then from there, sort of just carried on. And I was like, I'm in an R, I probably and ahed for about 2 days before I actually sort of went, okay, yeah, let's see what it's like. So I made that first purchase, downloaded everything, then found out, me not being a computer person myself, not knowing much about computers, didn't actually, looking at the system requirements, I was like, oh, okay, I thought I had a computer that would be compatible. So I downloaded, and then jumped on the tram line when you spawned at New Babbage, and then, definitely not. So then I had to upgrade the computer. Once I got the new computer, downloaded it again, gave it another go, and it worked perfectly. And then I just gave up on it because I got lost, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to play. I didn't know, I got stuck where you wake up for 45 minutes because I didn't realize how the hell to get out of it. It was confusing.
So you couldn't open the door because there was no door handle.
No, because of the mere fact that when you wake up, there is nothing telling you where to go. There is no, you wake up in a room, and it's like, well, what the hell do you do now? Like,
so you're talking about
walking around.
You didn't even know how to get out of bed. I actually remember that because I had to keep telling you, didn't you, wires to get out of things. I remember that now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, how the hell do you get up?
So you didn't even know how to press F to like go get out of bed? Oh wow.
No, there was a lot of finger bashing. I may have pushed F.
Did you read the tips at the bottom?
At the same time.
Did you read the tips?
Yeah. Well, no, you said gamers don't read. You said gamers don't read.
I can tell you that right now. Exactly. The number of times Badges had to tell people in chat today to put question in front of the thing, yet we literally have a bot in there that goes, please preference your questions with the word question, and nobody reads it. So,
to be fair, I am picking up on some really good points as well that I think, warrant kind of further. But yes.
I was stuck. I was stuck in that room for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I hope as veterans, guys, this has really shone some light on, like, especially for me when I've been here since like the very beginning, and I know you guys that have come along, we're all at different stages in our kind of journey or where we started. But for me, that is really enlightening, and I think, oh man, I wish I could just snippet this and somehow send it to CIG and go, this is what you're dealing with. But I think at the other part of it, they're just like, well, we're working on the game. Let's finish the game, and then we'll go back and do that. So hopefully from that ISC today, that Squadrons 42 tutorial stuff does eventually roll over. But I am the really scary thing for me is the front end, because like most companies, right, you would have to assume they don't really give so much of a shit once you've paid for it. The fact that this is so gimped from even selling it to you is kind of crazy to me, because once you've bought it, you're then going to make the effort to learn to play it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, look at me, 2 years and I'm finally learning how to play it.
Did you ever look at this new player guide? See, dive into our companion guide, and nobody ever does, And this is where
that's the thing. Like,
this is where you're meant to go, Dan. But here's the thing, Dan.
Oh, real.
Just so you know, it's located 5 levels deep. You had to sit here and wait till it got to... I'm clicking through them, but like literally they rotate like once every 10 seconds. Yeah. Why isn't this up the top?
But who the hell looks at that anyway? Here. They want to go to... They go to other places.
Show me the shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
who the hell even looks at that?
No, but
to be fair, why is that not linked in the launcher?
Why isn't it linked in the launcher? Why isn't it on the website like new players start here and it's like in like a see this play now button? Why isn't it like up there going new player tutorial or something like that? As I said, there's just some real, and I'm going to direct this at Turbulent. There are some real key things that you need to add to this website. You need to add how to install Star Citizen or new player, like it just needs to be, it's just not highlighted. And it's, it's drastically, like it's beyond time. Like we've been talking about this for the last, it comes up every 12 months. We talk about something like this, but like, it's bad. And, it doesn't look good because one of the things I remember Algared and I've talked about several times is, people generally don't get into the game unless they're dragged in by a friend. So you are literally gimping yourself. And that's why I said to you, Dan, like, I think you can kind of see what I'm saying, Dan. New people just don't find their way into this game because if they're not brought by a friend,
you're right, they don't.
You've been through it. And you said yourself, you're not very, not to have a go at you, you said you're not really a computer person, but you persisted. So I think you're more computer literate than most people. Gotta be honest with you. But yeah, just
pretty much
crazy.
Yeah, let me interrupt a minute. I think the best part of this game is the majority of the community are so willing to help new players.
Yeah, and I think they've probably lent on that as a crutch for just a little bit too long.
Yes.
You know, like, so look at the things today. I'm going to just summarize it real quick. Nothing to tell you how to install it. Nothing to tell you where to go or anything like that. They've got a guide system, but where is that? Where does that tell new players when you get to this website? None of that. There needs some big glowing, and I'm not talking about a panel that comes up. I'm talking about something that is permanently up the top, like the Pledge Store. Okay, wait, look, there is a thing. Look, I just realized it says learn how to play. But why isn't that like really lit up?
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, it's like we said, like it has to be blaringly obvious, like disgustingly neo pink. I'm not even kidding.
But I mean,
you know, like,
I mean, the thing is, I mean, we're kind of flogging a dead horse here because they can't even get the website to remember us. So, you know, we're
yeah.
They have talked about doing some new community hub thing, which is going to have org support and stuff. But I think, again, as you said, it's relying on orgs and players to teach people how to play the game, not the game teaching you. So you still have to have an org, friends, somebody to teach you the game, because the game can't teach you.
Yeah.
I think there's also another way that we could be looking at this, which is actually it's not the right time for it. So whilst they're working on the new player experience, because they're obviously appreciating we're now getting a wider audience with people like Ollie and Jack Frags and all that sort of stuff moving into it and all coming out positive.
Well, that's the game itself, though, Badges. I'm talking about just the website. That's been there for so long.
No, absolutely.
So they can talk about the game changing, but let's be honest, how often has that website changed in the last 10 years? Hardly at all.
Absolutely. But what I mean is your casual people who are going to be turned off by the difficulty of the website are going to hate Alpha.
Yeah.
They're going to find that, and maybe there is a little bit of intention here, and you know, they are looking at the people, and maybe Dan is more their target audience because he's persevered with it, and they're like, well, if you're going to persevere through that, you're going to persevere, or, you know, there's a good chance you'll persevere through the bugs. I don't know. You know, I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but maybe, because I can, like most of the people that I know, because I know the games they like to play and all that sort of stuff, yay, the love chat bot is back.
Oh, my favourite.
And redo your camera again, mate.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it. He's here every week. Everyone say goodbye. Nice to see you, bud. Have a good week. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye. He's our special little visitor every week, isn't he? So yeah.
So anyway, so if I... Sorry, go on, John.
Have you noticed that Lovebot tends to follow Matthew Drazen about?
I mean...
He's a bit of a lovebot himself, so that's fine. All right.
Hashtag just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So, into the questions, then.
Yes, please.
So, Axis has two questions that they seem to be related, so I'll group them together. Yeah. But Axis 0096 asks, do you think we will eventually we'll get land-based radar? And do you think we'll get a radar truck, mine layer, a medical variation of the Atlas platform?
I think you should start with that one because you're the military boy, so you can have that one.
Yeah, so land-based radar. Yep, absolutely. I mean, you kind of already have it right in the Atlas and the in those platforms. They are able to detect vehicles, which is what CIG is saying as part of their radar and scanning gameplay. Whether a dedicated one, yeah, I can see that. The interesting thing is, I don't know if you remember, they were talking about in the vehicle one. They were talking about artillery and whether or not we were going to get artillery.
Yeah, and they did.
And I had mentioned before how artillery might be a bit of a boring gameplay loop in and of itself, because like my ability to sit somewhere you don't know and just pummel your base to dust is only fun for one person. But Chris Roberts apparently has been asking about the ability to target and when can I get the ability to designate targets, which is what we've been talking about a lot with the Atlas.
Yeah. So just because there's a bit of a disconnect in the context there, what he's talking about is the other week they did a ship and vehicle Q&A with John Crew and the newer guy that I always forget his name, but it's highly worth watching. I actually linked it to Algared and I said, you've got to watch this. There's so many little... There's like normally you'll get like maybe 2 or 3 in an entire hour episode. They do 2 of those a year, and they're the best ones to watch, bar none. Why is this elevator not working?
You know, and again, in terms of a radar truck, yes, I can see that. Because the nice thing about a radar truck is you can put it out somewhere. Spot
you're gonna have to relog. Sorry, mate, you're gonna have to relog.
You're in Everest Harbour.
What are you telling me? What, is it 30k or what?
No, you're going to have to relog because I tried that earlier on and I had to relog the game.
Yeah, the servers crashed out the elevators in Everest.
Yeah.
So how do I get out?
You have to jump servers.
Oh, okay.
But to follow up from what Badgers is talking about, like, I think we'll get radar, whether it'll be surface to air search, volumetric search radar, or whether it'll be ground to ground. It'll be interesting.
But isn't it already there if you think about it? Because when you're in the Atlas, you can see the ships in the skies. So all you're talking about is being able to see other vehicles on the ground. Isn't it just a more... Yeah. It's essentially just an expansion of the scanning system. And I can already see other vehicles on the ground. So technically, isn't it already there? Like I'm...
Yes.
So...
It depends if you're trying to do target identification, signature analysis, and all these things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
the level of depth they want to go into.
Yeah. There's also a question of the logistics in terms of look at the size of the vehicle you need to move the Atlas platform around.
Okay.
Maybe you can get something slightly smaller. But yeah, mine layers again, I think, you know, how fun is that if you're driving along? I speak as and Dan might be able to speak to this as well, I speak as a Hell Let Loose player. Just randomly going bang with no warning or whatever, because some nerd on the other team has gone and run right outside your spawn and put one down is no fun. It's just no...
Yep. Also the little door mines, you know, the little mines that you can put in doorways, you know, those would be awesome. Also rifle grenades as well. You know, no grenade launchers, no rocket launchers, just rifle grenades that you can stick on the end of your rifle that you can carry 2 at a time, and then you can just pop them over whenever you like.
I think I'm back on the same server, guys. It's doing the same shit.
Yeah. If you've got friends on servers, you're probably also joining those servers.
You know what? I'll just join the US of A or something like that instead of Australia.
Yeah.
See if that fixes it.
But yeah, a medical variation, some sort of ground medical vehicle is overdue, I think.
Essay's talked about that quite a few times. He's brought that up. Medical version of the Spartan. And what was the other one? The Command and Control Center variant as well. I think was the other one. So and I think the Spartan was deliberately almost picked during this time period because they can make several variants and it's all low-hanging fruit. So it appears like they're bringing out multiple vehicles, but really they're just modifying one over and over. Put it this way. In the last 2 years, they've done 3 of them. So that kind of it's kind of excessive. That's almost one at every sale type of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another one at the end of the year, but we'll see what happens. But
But to follow up from that, the radar one could potentially be the command and control one. Roll the 2 together.
Yeah.
Fit a holo table in the back. Job's a good one.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be honest, like, I wasn't really sold on that Centurion at all, but having used it in-game a lot more in the last little while, there's just something really powerful about it. It just feels really powerful. It's definitely better than the Ballista, I'll tell you that right now, but we did say that during the bias guide. So it's just, I know, I'm finding the vehicles more and more appealing as time goes on, but it doesn't increase their value, as in dollar value, but in-game value, absolutely. And when they they're already purchasable in-game, the other 2. I've forgotten their dollar value. I think they're about 100 and... I'd have to look it up. But yeah.
Ballista's 140, the Spartan's 80, Centurion's 120.
So do me a favor now and look up the Rock and the Rock DS, and that's where you'll slap yourself.
No, if you can't...
If anybody buys a Rock DS, they need a slap.
No, the point I'm trying to bring up is the Rock and the Rock DS are actually more expensive than the Centron, but the Centron's like $110 or melt value, and the Rock is like what 50, 60 or something. So it's like, what is going on? So yeah, it's just another example of this weird stuff. So not only I've also got the ladder, the invisible element. So now I've gone to the...
That's a really good point. Just dump your kit, kill yourself, respawn in the bed.
Yes.
That'll spawn me down at Maria though, because then I'll have nothing.
Oh, are you not?
No, didn't you? Did we set that spawn point here last time we played?
No, John, I didn't. I'm terrible.
Okay, so this question from Agent 1213 is for X, but I suppose after you've answered, we can open it up to everyone. Sure. X, what's your favourite ship?
Reclaimer.
Why don't you just take your backpack off instead of moving everything?
The Reclaimer.
Because I'm... fine, John.
Nice.
Giving me your smart answers, you bastard.
What about yourself, John? Favourite ship?
Well, it used to be the Prospector, but I'm now with the Andromeda and the Ursa Rover for doing bunker missions.
Nice. Stuff. Dan, yourself?
Yeah, I'd have to go with what John said because of the mere fact that that's all I've been playing with for like the last 2 days, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He only owns an Aurora. He's been in an Aurora, the Prospector.
No.
I've got a
cut black now. I bought one today.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Upgrades.
One of us. Google gobble. One of us. Yeah, absolutely. So, if you had to pick one of the ships you've not flown or seen in game, what one just appeals for whatever reason?
What was the one that you showed me the other day, X? The one that you're trying to upgrade to?
The Kraken.
That one. Yeah, that one.
Nice.
I've created I've created a monster.
Yeah, that would be my lifelong one. That would be one that I'd like to strive for. I like the look of it. It would be awesome to see on the inside and so forth and so on. But yeah.
Good. And we don't really need to ask, do we? Because we know.
Yeah, it's the Polaris. It's the Polaris. It's the Polaris.
You shut your mouth. Perseus, baby. All day long and twice on Sundays.
Perseus?
Yeah, the Perseus.
Why would anybody want that?
Because it's an incredibly powerful pocket battleship.
You like to go boom on things then?
No, I mean, in terms of gameplay, I think I'm more likely to go where, oh God, like being at school without the fit primary school teacher. No, it's in terms of gameplay, I'm likely to go the way X is going. I'm likely to go Salvage and Reclaimer, I think, having not seen the gameplay loop. Because I don't get enough referrals to be a Javelin captain. But hint, hint.
Everybody say,
yeah, nobody cares. But no, I can see from the military perspective, I can see the utility of the Perseus. And I think people are gonna more and more become aware of just how potent that can be as a disruption to your supply chain and an absolute embuggerance as something you've got to deal with. But yes, anyway, so Axis 0096 has a question for you, X, which is mini truck or cargo truck? Question mark.
Isn't the mini truck the mule? I'm confused. And the cargo truck, as we've said the last few times in the last few weeks, they've got those big boxes on the back of the raft. They're going to need some kind of truck to carry it. That'd be up your alley, wouldn't it, Dan? Can you see them doing something like a semi-trailer or like in real life?
I would like them to, yeah.
What's the smallest kind of truck or car? I guess that's like a van, yeah? That'd be the form of cargo transport in the real world?
Oh, in the real world, yeah. You know, you get your minivans with your double X on the bum, but you know, it would be nice to see something like what we were playing with the other day. I can't remember what you were calling it, but it's that thing that's you know, you got to mount it and it's got those guns on the back. Seeing something like that with a box on the back and maybe a little mini trailer that you can carry stuff in, that would be awesome.
So the thing with the gun on the back, you're talking about the Centurion?
Yeah, the thing that I've driven more than you have.
Yeah. So the he was. So I got a Centurion the other day, and Dan drove it before I even had a chance to drive it. But yeah, no, that we've talked about a cargo variant of that as well. But yeah, long story short, like I'm not a cargo person from a real world experience, but Dan, you are. That's what I was kind of asking. Like visually, what would you kind of expect? So I'm expecting if the mule's the van, right? I'll then expect there's at least 2 more. So I'd say the large one would be akin to carrying the really big boxes, and we know that there's the 1 SCU. We know if you technically go smaller than the mule, you've got something like the Dragonfly that can carry the little ones. So I think there is room in there for a middle one as well. But trying to kind of visualize what that would be. Is that like a mini haul truck? You know how you get those small trucks that are yeah. So there's at least 3 sizes of truck there, in my opinion. You know, with the mule
it would be cool
one.
if you know, it would be cool for, you know, if they did bring a variant of that, but like have it on a skid bed. So pretty much having containers that you can load up in the back of your ships on these trucks, and you know, having space for 2 containers, you know, or a truck with a container and a container next to it, and you go into a planet where you can set up a mini base where you're not having to fly back to a place where you have to store stuff, or you know, you run out of space on your ship. It would be cool if you had a storage container, or you know, one of these containers could be a mobile command center, or a radar center, or you know, a medical hub. You know, it would be awesome if they brought some sort of variant of that out. You know, you put down the ramp, you drop off the container, you pick up your other container, drop it back off of the ship. You know, that sort of thing. That'll be awesome. That'll be great if they could actually work something like that.
Okay.
I've seen his driving. We don't really want him driving for us.
Oh, settle down, John. Saw your driving. Yours is just as shit.
Yeah, but I'm old. What's your excuse?
Badges, I have to be honest with you, they're both shithouse. Yeah. I at least when I get there quickly.
Wow.
But I do crash at least once on the way there. But now the vehicles flip them back itself over, it's fine. But I always am quicker than both of them because I don't give a shit about crashing. I just get there. I want to get there in time. So yeah.
But John tell you that as well.
John is like this.
In chat, everyone, say hello.
Have you ever seen John? You know those people that drive like this, so you're accelerating backwards and forwards and rocking. That's how John drives. So you just the whole way. But anyway.
No, John just gets other people to drive for him while he eats his pork chops.
Thank you.
That's true. That's true. Hey, hey, Grim, how you doing?
Okay.
Man? Actually, just real quick while we're talking about Grim. Hey, Grim. We were talking about Star Atlas before. And the trailer that they made for Star Atlas, I would love to get your opinion on that sometime, even if we just do it in private. But I remember looking at that video they did when it came out and thinking, man, they've taken some really cheap shots with this video, and I could pick up on it. I reckon you'd be even better at it than me because you do it for a living. But yeah, if you've got some time, I'd love to sit down, even if it's for 5-10 minutes, and we'll just have a chat when you got some time. Because I think it's, especially with the video that came out today from Morph. I don't know if you've seen it, but yeah, it'd be I think you'd have something to add to that conversation that the community. Yeah, for sure. We haven't caught up in about 6 months at this point, but other than text. But yeah, so yeah, we'll have to catch up. All right then. Sorry, Badges.
Okay. Cascadian asks, what did you do with Algared, you madman? Where are you hiding him? It's not, we didn't get it up in time for this stream, but there will be a dono goal to let Algared out of the office we've locked him in. No, Algared is busy this morning, so we've had John, Citizen, and Dan join us. John is a long-time Star Citizen player and miner extraordinaire. And Dan's been playing the game for about 3 days, and it has the unlucky fortune to come across these 2 reprobates and have them show him around the game.
I do think
it was actually quite funny how me and X actually actually met, to be honest.
Yep.
He was looking for a gunner for a mission, and I actually said, "Oh yeah, well I'll help you, but I'm fresh as hell, so I'll give it a go."
And
awesome.
Yeah, and I ended up just showing him how to play the game instead. That's fine.
And then paired me up with Jon.
Yeah, but that was the next day. Come on, I didn't just chuck
cruel.
I didn't just chuck in the deep end. Come on.
I don't.
Oh, be honest. Be honest. It was like, hey, I'll introduce you to this guy. This guy's really good. Didn't realise he was 71 years old that I was playing with.
I told you he was old, but knew what he was doing.
But hey, no, I've said with Jon. Sorry, man.
Basically, it wasn't paired up with me. He palmed you off on me because he got fed up with you.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I didn't want to be rude,
man.
Jon. I did not want to be rude, and I did not want to say it, but hey, you took the words right out of my mouth,
less
Jon.
than 3 days and you've corrupted him, Jon. Good job. That's a record time. Yeah.
But I must admit, being a gamer like myself, I've got a hats off to Jon and the other guy that we met. You know, 71 and 76 years old. Come on, you don't see many gamers like that these days. It absolutely astounds me that we've got guys on here of their age, of their caliber, and they're giving it a go. It's absolutely phenomenal.
I'm going red now. Shut up.
That's all right. You can buy me a drink later, Jon.
I was going to say, I think you pulled Dad.
Yeah.
I've had it with my lady. I don't need to pull anybody else.
Yeah. No, he's got Diane behind him, just constantly feeding him drinks and food. He doesn't even have to leave to go to the toilet. He's lucky.
Well,
I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
At that age, they don't need a toilet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Human diaper.
Crown 8 asks, this was back when we were talking about the PTV being removed from Ship Showdown because it needs a rework before they can apply the skins to it.
Yep.
And Crown 8 asks, is this an example of the studio being stretched thin? An asset has been chucked aside and left 10 years in the dust. I would like a 2 to 3 person team going back and updating ships.
Well, they did say on that post that it's scheduled to be done next year, and they're going to give us a free skin in recognition of its position.
Yeah,
I'm pretty cool with that.
In terms of
it's getting a free skin, it would have only got one free skin anyway, so
yeah,
it's getting it in regards. So they've basically gone, we'll give you the free skin. I don't have a problem with that. I think that covers it for me. They're basically going, yeah, this thing essentially won, so it's going to get a free skin. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of the question about is this being stretched thing, one of the things that X and I will be revisiting soon, because X asked me to do this some time ago, and I didn't because I'm lazy.
Is this that infographic? No, wait.
That one.
Yep.
So, in terms of the studio being stretched thin, absolutely. Through no fault of their own. If you look at when they started, that's back in 2012, they were 4 guys in a basement.
8, but close enough.
That was the size of the studio. They're now up and around the 700 to 800 mark. To give you an idea of like where that sits with other studios, Red Dead Redemption in its final year had 1,200 people work on it. And that's from a company who has one studio that has 600 permanent staff, and their full-time job is just to maintain their game engine that drives Grand Theft Auto 5, now 6, Red Dead 2. So they've got 600 people working on the engine alone, and modifying the engine and making it more advanced and liaising with the other studios that are building their games.
And then you got to add
and then you look at something... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, but it's probably a step above what you're about to say. So I was just going to say, but you've also got to add staff turnover to whatever you're about to say. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you look at something as big and as complex as this, and they're 700-800 staff. So because people will talk about the time and the money, and they are 2 sides of the equation, but they're not the only sides of the equation. So yes, they are stretched thin because they're constantly hiring. And it depends on how many people they get. The last 2 years have effectively been on hold because the barriers, just in terms of interviewing people, are ridiculous. With lockdown and people not being able to meet and all that sort of stuff. So, and then you add in time differences and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely, whether it's stretched thin, but it certainly is. They're constantly talking about hiring. They're constantly on the look for AI engineers and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. Anyone else got any thoughts on that?
Your insurance claim has been...
No, I'm falling asleep. I was a bit bored then.
Thanks, mate. Are you sure that's not just your age?
I'd say the same with John. Yeah, I completely zoned out what you were saying, mate. Sorry, I do apologise.
You got to stop bringing all these arseholes into the game, X.
The one thing I will say is I'd rather them do this than, as they say, spend time doing it now on an old system to then have to janky fix it and do it again. Because when you're that sort of staffed, you don't have time to be double or triple doing the work.
And we're all getting a free skin out of it, and we get a better PTV, so I got no problem with it. Would have just kind of seen it cool to win though somehow at the same time. Maybe it'll win next year. And I actually brought up the PTV to Paul last year, and that's why we pushed it this year, because like it was the next after the PTV, after the MPUV, it was the next obvious choice for me. But yeah, we'll see.
I'll let it know. PTVR next year.
What did you say? Sorry, Pete. What? Oh, PTVR. Well, yeah,
racing.
That's probably the variant. That's a good point. They did mention a variant. You're right. There probably could be a racing variant. Actually, there was meant to be a mining variant as well in the lore. Paul brought that up. Maybe
of the PTV.
Yeah, so it was originally designed to drive. So we talked about the lore, but it was originally designed to drive down mining tunnels, and it was so narrow that it could get down them, and it was quicker than people running. So it was designed as an escape vehicle from collapsing mines. Is what he told me, John. And but obviously with the star cart, you'd obviously see that as well. But he was saying that when they were making in the factory, people were driving around and having fun in it, and so they realized there was a civilian application for it. So they released it for the civilian market, and it was really popular. Because the first time it appeared, other than the hangar, they actually put it into the land module, like back when you had ArcCorp as just a little module. And people used to drive it around and crash it, and it'll burst into flames and a whole bunch of things. So yeah, it's been in there a while. It's the first thing we could actually ever interact with, and I think like for those that have been here since the beginning, it's not the same for people that came on later. The PTV is just like, what is this? This is a joke, right? But for the people that were there since the beginning, the PTV, it's got a lot of memories because for years it's all we ever had. So yeah. So it deserves, as they said in the post, it deserves the recognition because it was all they had.
First thing I did with the first PTV I had was drive around New Babbage.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you, and please visit again.
And got a crime stat.
Yeah, but you get that every day, so yeah.
No, not every day. I do go a day without a crime stat sometimes.
Yeah, that's when you don't play, John.
Yeah, but what day don't I play?
I don't know.
Moving swiftly on. So, yes. SA asks, Dan, what's the coolest experience you've had in Star Citizen so far?
Meeting me.
Settle down there, John. Don't give yourself a bad enough head that you've already got, mate. Jesus.
Press F to doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Best experience so far. I guess it's just finding guys that actually are willing to help. A new person such as myself joining a game that's so intense, like you're standing there and you're seeing people running around, you see the gear that they've got, you see the ships that they've got, and you want to be like them, or you want to, be to that level, but meeting X and meeting John and, them showing me the ropes, I would have to say that would probably be the best experience so far. And, they've got time. They've taken time out of their day, out of their job. Well, John doesn't have a job and doesn't really have much time a day anyway, but just taking the time to teach people that they don't even know, that they've never met any before, just to spend a couple of hours with them, spend hours, days, nights, just reliving what it was like when they first joined, doing missions that they can barely remember, you know. And I would have to say that would be probably my best so far.
Awesome.
Nice.
And I mean, that's a great question for. Yeah, that's a great question for kind of everyone. How about yourself, John?
Well, basically, I got into the game. I'd got a couple of friends I used to play World of Warships with and World of Tanks. And they disappeared for a while. Then they came back into the Discord we were using. You got to have a look at this. And it's what? So they put a link in, sent me a link. I clicked on it, went. I hadn't even looked at any YouTube videos or anything like that. And I thought, I'm reading it. This don't look bad. So that's how I got into it. As I said, I got stuck in the lift till somebody came in on another floor. Then I saw him scroll down. I thought, what a stupid old fart.
Don't know about Badges and Dan, but that sounds like life imitating art.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
so what was your coolest moment in terms of, for whatever reason you like sort of thing? But what was your coolest moment since you've started?
Basically, my coolest moment was the first day I came in, and Muff turned around and said, "Come on, you're gonna fly this ship." So he gets into this great big thing, which you both spoke about earlier on. Took me 25 minutes to find me because they just ran off and left me. So I'm wandering around this big, huge ship, which was the Reclaimer. They'd all got seats, and they goes, "You sit in there." So I sat in this seat, and I thought, this is the control place. So I actually flew from Lawville to Grimhex and landed the Reclaimer at Grimhex without blowing anybody up. And that got me hooked, to be honest with you.
Yeah, good.
What about
how about yourself, X? What's your coolest moment to be?
You go first.
Well, ask Can, since he's in here, if he's happy to share. Can's one of our moderation team, and he's been on previous streams, I think. So, Can, what's your coolest moment been?
Coolest moment? You should know because you were there, but it was during Siege of Orison when the two of us basically held a platform on our own for what must have been about 20 minutes. That was just... When the server works, the AI was on point. For whatever reason, the game just came together at that point, and that had very much 13 Hours of Benghazi feel to it.
Yeah. So the beats, we've actually got some footage. So if you find my video, which was on the Siege of Orison, and scroll forward to the bit that says what went well, the chapter, the footage that's going on in the background is exactly what Cam was talking about. And I don't know whether this was intended or just the way it gave us this impression because it worked out this way. But yeah, we were on a circular platform on one of the outside areas, and it felt like a massive counterattack by the AI because we just showed up and we were, dealing with some pretty sizable waves of guys coming in. I mean, emptying a mag of FS9 ammo to stop them. Yeah, that was good fun. Mine, I think, I've got two. I think, unfortunately, I actually disconnected, and yet it's still one of my favourite missions in the game. Can, myself, and Gaucho were at the crashed Reclaimer. And another ship came in, destroyed our ship. It was a Redeemer. And the two guys tried to track the rest of us down. And although I crashed, I watched Can and Gaucho get revenge on the first guy that came out, and then Can actually got into the ship and shot the second guys who got at the turret. So that was good fun. But I also think, if anyone remembers when the Expo was at ArcCorp, the Reclaimer, I was showing a new play around there, and they said, "Oh my god, that's a ship." I thought that was the ceiling, because the Reclaimer's so big, it looks like the ceiling. And I never told them this, but I thought it was the ceiling too. I hadn't clocked it either. So yeah, that was just one of those moments of, oh my god, the scale in this game. But yeah, I mean, you could just keep picking bits. But what about yourself, X? What's yours?
I think maybe because we talked about it a bit earlier today, but I was thinking back at the time, I didn't say anything, but I was thinking about, I was talking about the hangar module and stuff like that, and back in the day, you only ever had the hangar module, and so for years and years, you'd sit in the ship, and I remember them talking about the helmet thing. I don't know if you guys remember that helmet, but that's the thing from back in the day. So those that have been around will know what I'm talking about. But when the first time I actually got to fly out of a hangar, because I've been sitting in it for so long and just dreaming of those doors coming up and flying out, and I was just like, this is real. I actually get to do this now, and it was just this the feeling of actually finally being able to move the ship. I know that sounds really weird because we do it every day now whenever we want, but can you imagine being locked in a box and the ship doesn't even move? You can't fly up or down or even inside the box. It just sits there, and you can climb up into it and sit in the chair, and you can lay in the bed, but that's all you can ever do. And then eventually one day the ship turns on and it hovers up and the doors open and space appears, and it's not, wait, I can go outside the box. Like it was huge at the time. So yeah.
Oh, that must have been amazing.
It was at the time, yeah. Because you just sat there for so long, and
because how long had you actually been sitting in your ship until that time?
Probably 4 years or something. Something like, well, maybe less than, maybe 3. I don't know. I'd have to go back and work it out. But it was a number of years. So yeah, maybe someone in chat can go work it out. But
just to jump in, just to give a slightly different feel, another one that comes to my mind is somebody managed to get their ship float off and they couldn't get into it. So went random in the game, picked him up. It was the doors were open on its cutlass, but it was at a 90-degree angle. So I actually had to run out the back of my ship, land on the cargo in the cutlass, and then somehow make it into the cockpit with the ship at 90 degrees with both doors open, and somehow, don't know how, but I managed to do it. It's still one of the coolest moments I've had in Star Citizen, of just like, I don't know how I did this, but I did it, and it's...
There we go. All right. Sorry, I had to hide our visitor again. He's back and hungry for more.
Absolutely monster. Okay, Ron says their coolest experience was getting pirated by Mongol Squad first month in game, made them paranoid for days. Yeah, that would. Yeah, absolutely.
But they rocked up to you and was like, give me all your money.
Yeah. So, Apple... Sorry, go on, John.
I had something like that. I hadn't been in the game long. I got the Cutty Black and a rock, and I was rock mining on Aberdeen. And all of a sudden, because the little radar thing in the top left-hand corner of the rock, there's something coming in. The next thing I know, I'd got into F4 just having a look around, and there's a guy running up behind me. Got his gun ready and everything. I thought, sod this, so I reversed and ran him over. Right? So then I raced for the back of my Cutty Black, and I see another ship to the left. I didn't know where it was at the time. Then the same guy come running out of this ship, firing this gun at me, So I aimed for him and I run him over again. I thought, well, how many guys are in that ship? And it wasn't until later I realised it was the Cutty Red. It was the same guy, kept spawning and spawning. And I ended up with a crime stat 5 because I ran him over that many times and he kept pressing charges.
That's why you don't let John drive.
Yeah.
His driving hasn't improved.
Yeah.
But that shows a flaw in the...
Let me get back in. No, it shows how good a driver I was, that I could actually run him over while he was still shooting at me.
I was going to say, it shows a flaw in the crime system, though, that he's doing wrong, and he literally gave you a crime 5, level 5 crime stat, because he can just keep respawning and you kill him. Yeah, it's... Yes.
Grim says for him, his coolest moment was the first day the character was in game. He got to walk through it.
Yeah. If you've been waiting for something really long, it's the same thing as mine. He waited so long for it,
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
You guys have had so many cool moments. Because I haven't been playing quite 2 years yet. So I couldn't have moments like that. I've had the moments of walking through these ships, but I knew they were working.
Come on, John.
You know, actually having...
Come on, John. You can't, John. You can let alone remember what you had for dinner. Let alone 2 years ago. Come on.
Oh, see.
Pork chop.
I'm just about to say that.
Potatoes and stir-fried vegetables.
Yeah, I can make up things too. Cornflakes and bananas. See, look, I can do it too.
Yeah. I'm not making it up because actually, Dan was doing the bunker mission while I was eating.
Exactly, but yet, John, you didn't make it though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He said.
Let's move on from bullying, John.
Didn't you say something about he had pork chops or something?
Yes, he did. He did have pork chops.
See, he didn't have what he said stir fry. He had pork chops. See?
I said pork chop with boiled potatoes and stirred fried vegetables. That was what didn't it?
And then John got really upset because he gave his bone to his dog, and then his dog wanted to go bury the bone in his bed.
I'm just going to say this because somebody's pointed this out in chat. What John actually forgot to tell us is that was what it was flavoured. What it was actually was a cup of Jello.
Nice.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
I've still got a few teeth of my own left. Not many, but a few.
It's an interesting kind of question to ask for games because you don't get to ask this moment. But does anyone have really cool Star Citizen moments out of the game?
Oh yeah, but heaps of them. It's as John said earlier. It's the same when we went to the bar system in Algared. The 100% theme that went across the entire bar system was it's all about the people you meet. The game's a buggy mess sometimes, you know, but we're all here for what it will eventually be. It's just, yeah. Just real quickly before I go out of this camera view, this is a new skin for the Hercules, and I have to say it is really, really nice. It's like a metallic camo. Most expensive.
It's understated. It's good.
It's really good. It really suits the M2 as well because the M2 it kind of takes its default color and upgrades it.
When you go back and you see the shades in there, yeah, it really does show it off well.
Yeah, because we've been using this for the last couple of days, haven't we, John? So
yeah.
How close is your face to the screen right now to see that, John?
But actually, my eyesight is 20/20 without my glasses this close. Yeah. I'm short-sighted, you see.
Yeah, and so Grim's got a really nice one. He says, creating content and releasing it to the community is honestly a cool thing. Met cool people that help support my efforts. X being one of them. Very cool community.
Yeah.
100%.
It goes back to what you were saying about with Eradicator at the start. You know, like we would go back to bat for anyone in our community, no matter what level you see them as, because some people see people as, you know, not their favorite content creator, but you would still, you know, the devil you know, as I said. That's what I was trying to imply. Like this community is so deep.
Yes.
You attack someone I know, I'm gonna come back at you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What happens if that person they're attacking is Salty Mike?
Well, that's not. Well, I'd still go back for Salty Mike. I think that's my whole point I'm trying to make. Is it doesn't matter who they are. You go after someone in my community, I'm going to come at you, type of thing.
Yeah.
Actually, I do like a lot of his content, to be honest with you.
Well, there's no judging for taste.
I enjoy your company. So, what does that say about my taste?
As I said, no enjoyment for taste. No,
you can't hear it, so I'm muting, but I am repeatedly slamming my head on the desk.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Hell.
Next question, baby.
Fellas, Jesus Christ.
Next.
I was going to give mine out again, but you don't get it anymore. No, sitting in the audience at CitizenCon 49, listening to Tony Zervik explain Quanta for the first time, because it was the moment that I went from, I hope Star Citizen will do well, to I understand how Star Citizen's going to do well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it comes across in the video. If anyone hasn't watched the video, please go watch it. It's awesome from start to finish. You do have to pay attention, though, because Tony pitches his talks at the level of a fairly robust, kind of, at least undergrad discussion about things. So you've got to pay attention. But there was a moment where he was told to hurry up and end it because they needed to get on with the closing speech. And I don't know if it comes across in the video, but I swear the atmosphere in that room, if they had forced him to end it, we would have rioted.
Yeah.
We were enjoying it that much. Honestly, we would have set fire to the whole building.
Yeah.
The
other one good. That I remember from that video is he's like assistant or whatever. You know, the guy that was actually doing the demo, and the guy, like, when they turned it on for the first time, everyone was just the pretty graphics. It's like, wow, this is amazing. And he's like, I don't get it. Why are they cheering? Like, he just didn't get we like the look of it. Like, it was it was quite funny. I remember at the time. But hopefully someone explained it to him afterwards.
Yeah. So, questions then. Apple Crow asks, does anyone remember the flight training level they had way back when with a voice-acted NPC? Yeah, they actually showed it in the ISC.
Today, they did.
Yeah, but I don't know how they're going to do that, whether they force people through, whether people give the option.
Well, they literally showed in the video they're going to do it in-game. So they're going to do it in the hab, they're going to do it in the hangar. They're going to like show you. That also means they're going to have a tutorial on how to get from your hab to the hangar.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think showing what they've shown in terms of what they're going to do hits all the key things for me, like getting out of the room, as Dan was saying, going to a shop, getting out of the hangar.
Finding your way around the cities is a job in itself if you haven't got somebody with you.
Yes. Yeah, agreed.
So I can be serious sometimes.
Shem Pastor asks, where is Algared? Mate, we locked him in the cupboard. There's going to be a dono goal to let him out. Or give him food.
Nah, the body's in the basement. Come on. Just be serious.
Wow.
Old Man Hurston is currently
the
property of the Hurston Liberation Front.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. That needs to be a thing now. So Zangroper asks, he says more for me, but we can all weigh in on this one. Is the Perseus the gunship competitor to the Polaris, or are we going to see a slightly bigger gunship comparable to the Polaris?
Oh, nice landing.
If so, what do we think that will be capable of?
I don't know about you, Badges, but I'd say it's comparable to the Hammerhead, wouldn't you? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's too small to be direct to the Polaris.
I think like the Hammerhead punches down and the Perseus punches up. That's how I see it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, just in terms of combat, yes, I could see the Perseus and the Polaris trading blows, and neither of them are going to come out favorably in that engagement.
Until the Polaris goes, here, have a torpedo, and the game is over.
Yeah, until the Polaris jams some torpedoes into the side.
Then, who do you think would win out of the two of them?
It's got 24 torpedoes. If the Polaris wants to win, it's won. Because it's just got to spend the money though to do it. Like each torpedo is the price of an Avenger. So that is like. It's just not a ship you're going to want to mess with, because like if it wants to kill you, it's going to kill you, but they've got to pay for it. You know, so.
You know, and remembering that both ships have torps, it's just Polaris is double the size of the Perseus.
Yeah.
It would be a massive fight. But yeah, I think the Polaris is much more long term. It's got its own hangar, all that sort of stuff. It's much more kind of go out and expeditionary warfare, whereas the Perseus is out and out designed to operate with other stuff. And I think it's got a niche as a solo fighter, but it needs to, or a solo brawler. But to do that role well, it needs to pick and choose its engagements. And just at the moment, with neither ship in the game, my guess would be the Polaris is not a fight it would pick willingly.
I think the Polaris has got a support element to it. I think it's more of a almost like it goes in, like warps in, attacks before you even realize it's there, and then just gets out. I think in the concept art they called it the tip of the spear. So it literally goes in, just and it's out. And it does have some ridiculously big scanners. So that implies that it's looking at stuff from range, and it goes in, hits, and then gets out. So similar to an Eclipse or a Retaliator, they'd be doing the same thing. And I think it is a staple of those torpedo ships. You correct me.
I'd like to.
Sorry, go on, John.
I'd like Star-Jump to say what sort of a niche slot it thinks the Polaris is in, between what ships and what it can do.
Yeah, just while he's answering that, I think there's some very interesting thoughts coming out in chat at the minute. The Polaris is definitely like a submarine, whether it's closing, it's going to hit you with torpedoes, it's going to run away. But it's also a little bit more survivable than that. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting platform for sure. And like someone said, Vital Wind said, high hopes for it. Absolutely. High hopes for every ship, but the Polaris is going to be particularly interesting.
Polaris, Capital, Eclipse, or Tally from Fishy.
I'm not quite sure of the context of this question. But the question from Non-Runner is, are you now asking our support for the Gladiator? Is that the ship? Is that part of the ship showdown stuff, I guess?
No. Why would I ask that? That's clearly someone trying to go, help me get the Gladiator. No, I think, as I said, if I had to go to the next one, I'm sorry, but the Mule's got 3 skins already. Do you know why they want you to pick the Mule? Because it's incredibly easy. It's already set up. They don't have to do any work. That's why they want you to pick the Mule. In fact, I'm willing to bet a part of the PTV thing is because the next highest is the Mule. That's why they've done it. Like you got to think it from a business point of view. What they say is factually correct, and they're like, if we just promise 1 skin, we can push this down the road, right? And we don't have to do any work. And so the next one that'll be picked is the PTV, and because we have to have a short turnaround, we've already done it. It's already laid out in Photoshop. All it is doing is changing a few colors in DataForge.
Yeah.
It's half the reason why I think they've done it. So I'm not picking the Mule just based on it's so new that it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. Pick something that really needs the skins. This doesn't need it. And as I said, the only other one I can think of that could really use it, and it's old. You got to think about. And I'm not just thinking vehicles. I'm thinking like ships, right? Unless you're going to pick something like the Aurora or the Avenger or the Connie. They've all got skins. The only other one that I know that doesn't have skins is the Ursa. Can anyone in chat, one of you boys, tell me what's something that doesn't have, and I know people are going to bring out things like the Raven and the Eclipse. There are a few out there as well that don't have it. But I also like to try and pick something that is very common so a lot of people can get it. And you got to be honest, the Ursa's up there. The Carrack has one. The Connie has one. It's $50. So honestly, try and think of something under $100 that most people get a hold of. Herald would be a good one. Herald's a good one. I think there's like 2 skins for the Herald, so pretty up there with the racing at the moment. I don't know. Are you hearing that sound effect? Holy crap!
Yeah, no, we're not hearing through what you're streaming.
It is like going when I try to. Whoa! That's a new sound effect. No. There's a new sound effect, and this thing is very loud. That's crazy. Anyway, chat will tell you when they hear it. It's quite loud. Anyway. All right, next question, please, Badges.
Okie dokie. So, moving on from that one.
Actually, before I do, is there a thing that you would like to see skins for, Badges? Because I did kind of ask you, but you never answered.
Do you know what? I just the skins are great. So there's a couple of skins that I bought that I really like. I got the Harmony ones for the Prowler and the Nox. I got the 2 skins for the Pisces, which I quite like. But I'm much more a fan of the one that you've just shown off, the understated ones for the human vehicles. I like the Harmony skins for the Nox and the Prowler because it's more alien, it's a bit more outlandish. But yeah, in terms of 4 vehicles, I think something for the Reclaimer would be cool. Maybe showing it off as being more industrial.
Yep.
That might be quite nice to see.
That's the other thing. The last few of those skins have all been a little bit flamboyant. So we had pink, then white, black, and gold, which is probably the best one they've had, and then they had black and blue last year. The other thing I'll bring out is this game has a real problem with red. They don't make a lot of red skins, and I don't know if it's just because of the Chinese New Year, but that's the only time we ever see them is Chinese New Year. Anyways,
they should do, because they've got a red armor. It's a part red armor. I forget what it's called, but it's really good. It's a metallic red. We haven't
had a single year where the IAE was red, yet we've had 2 that were yellow and 2 that were blue. We haven't had a green one either, because every time they do green, they just think of St. Patrick's Day. So yeah. Sorry, John, you want to say?
And just so.
I believe Dan was looking at the red armor today while we was in one of the armor.
Indeed, I was. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Can you remember what it was called?
No, my memory is like yours, John. Absolutely crap.
No.
Isn't it like a flame walking or flame walker or something?
Nah, definitely not that. Nah. It was in one of the armory shops. I think it was Houston. I think we're at.
Houston.
Houston. Yeah, I think it was there, and it was up on the stand. It was actually really nice.
So have you seen?
No, Everest Harbour.
Have you seen this?
Oh, was it there?
Have you actually seen this or not?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you seen
the bit that always stands out to me is the gun on top of the cab?
Yeah.
For some reason, it's just the way it's positioned. I actually quite like it, but it's definitely stand out.
So look at this. These are 4x4s. Oh wait. Oh, I'm in an armistice zone. I can't fire it. God damn it.
Yeah.
But this thing is just insane.
So John asked Grim earlier why about his comment about the Polaris being a niche, and Grim said just in terms of where it sits in terms of size and roll, but also with it being able to fire 4 strength 10 torps at once. It punches quite high.
Yes.
And that answers a comment further down, which is, I'm really curious how hard the Polaris will be able to hit a javelin. Those torps will do significant damage to a javelin.
Yeah. It's
where it sits, we don't know because we don't have armor in the game, but yeah.
Well, you can tell a little bit from its armament because it has size 9 torpedoes where the javelin has size 10. So they're not the biggest torpedoes in the game, but they're way up there. And we know they've already modeled size 9s because we saw them in an ISC last year.
Yeah, javelin torps are size 12 Desolator class.
Really?
I know this because I researched this for my video last week. But yes.
Oh wow, I thought that was size 10.
Polaris is 10.
Yeah.
Jav is 12.
Okay, I stuffed up. Yep. Cool.
And I agree with Star Jump there as well about the prospector needs a proper industrial looking skin.
Yes. Agreed.
I think we should make a John skin, and it's just like it puts a big clown afro, and a big red nose on the Polaris. I reckon it'll sell like hotcakes. It's just a pork chop repeated over and over again. Yeah.
You know.
They need to do that for Red Nose Day.
Okay. So Joshua Larry says, "Hi, love the channel. Cheers for that, mate. What is the best way to acquire capital ships like the Idris Kraken and 890 Jump? I never seem to win the F5 battle."
Tell yourself.
So there is a trick to it, but when
I said to join the Discord.
Yeah, join the Discord.
People share what's worked for them.
Yeah, so that's the easiest way to explain it. Yeah, get on the Discord because it's a multi-step process, but there is a way to make it easier. So yeah. But yeah, if you jump on the Discord, get in the Fix My Fleet or the CCU Helpers channel, and someone can show you how it's done.
I assume that's Shocker. Shocker17 says, how much of a difference between a tutorial and something like a 0 to hero start for new players? I think if I was going to do a 0 to hero, I'd probably do stuff that I wouldn't recommend new players do to keep 0 to heroes interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the tutorials It's going to be a massive challenge. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to just end up repeating everything when I do the video on it. But yeah, I think it's a challenge because people don't want to be taken by the hand and made to do stuff. But yeah, there's definitely going to be. Yeah, I just saw that as well, John. You know, there's definitely going to be a challenge to it, and it'll be interesting to see how CIG overcome it.
All right. Next question? No?
Okay, so Runner asks, this is definitely going to draw on your expertise, X. Isn't Squadron 42 a trilogy? Won't they just move on to the next chapter when it's released?
Yeah, so yes, they will, and the new people they're hiring for the new studios were the people that will work on Star Citizen. So the people that have worked on Squadron 42 will continue to work on the next chapter, and all the new stuff will move on to Star Citizen. That seems to make the most logical sense, because that way they don't have to, you know, they can pick up speed on the next Squadron 42 pretty quickly. We've already got a cinematics team. The cinematics team will just keep working on the new cinematics. All makes sense.
Quick question. When we bought Squadron 42, have we bought the trilogy, or will they charge more for the...
More for the trilogy, mate.
So,
Okay.
So newer backers like yourself will have to buy Part 2 and Part 3, but older backers like me that have a Legacy Alpha, again, if you're an older backer, you know what that is, you have Squadron 42 Part 1 and Part 2, but I will have to buy Part 3.
Rude.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's okay. Don't worry about it, mate.
So, I mean, that's a really good
talk about
opportunity, actually. So, Squadron 42 is the single-player side. It has a cast that puts most films to shame. And the idea was initially that when you bought the game, if it was all released at once, you would play through the single-player, and then at the end you would effectively muster out of your military service, and then go into Squadron 42. Sensibly, they've kind of separated the two and gone, right, we're not going to make you play and complete the single player before you get access to the multiplayer.
But if you do, they're going to give you access to a cool ship in the universe.
F8 Lightning.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I mean, the cast for it are people like Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, Mark Strong, Henry Cavill, Gillian Anderson, Liam Cunningham, John Rhys Davies, Ben Mendelsohn, which, if you don't recognise a lot of those names, you will for sure recognise the characters. And the best thing I can do is just go watch the Squadron 42 trailer. In fact,
this whole stream has turned into showing Dan the game.
well, I mean, if you wanted to, you could put the trailer on and we could all watch it together. But
yeah. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Do you guys want to watch that in chat? Let me know.
How long is it?
Like 3 minutes.
It's like 3 minutes. Yeah, it's not very long.
Oh, go on then.
Link it to me, please, Badges. Just link it in the stream question, so I don't even have to try.
Roger, okay.
And I'm just because I'm fine.
Ben Jim says yes, and he's the only one to respond. So that'll learn you for not responding.
Yeah.
Do you want it in your Discord chat or in the stream?
In the stream questions, please. Stream questions in that Discord chat.
Roger questions. It's gone in the stream, so there. Remove. Damn it.
Yeah, I need to land, but after I've landed, then we can.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Okay.
Next question.
Yeah. So, well, just to fill Dan in on that, so we don't kind of move off and then jump back. They basically decided a little while ago. I don't know how soon that was decided, but they're going to break it into 3 parts. So it's going to be like, you know, an episode system. So you're going to have Squadron 42, Chapter 1, 2, and 3.
That was the first time that was in Manchester. That was like 2015, 2014. So it's been a long time. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the idea. So that's where, you know, if you've got a Star Citizen package, you don't have this, you won't have access to it. But they separate, after a while, they kind of said, look, we're going to separate these out because they're becoming 2 completely separate development projects.
So you've actually got Squadron 42 Part 1, Dan. So if you like that, you can go back and buy Part 2 and Part 3, and I'd fully expect Part 2 and Part 3 to cost more, because at the moment they're only like $50. So that's the price of games 10 years ago, but games are now $60, you know, so they've, and PlayStation 5's looking at making them 70, and that tweet that I just got was telling me that the retail price of PlayStation 5s in Australia has now gone up $50 because of the inflation.
Also has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get one for the last 2 years, and now they're telling me I'm going to pay more. Well, whatever.
Sods. But yeah.
You know, just looking at the Centurion, I'd love to see a 105 on the back of that.
Yeah.
A 105? What's a
105? About now.
What's a 105?
105mm field gun.
Yeah.
Artillery piece.
Oh, artillery gun, yep.
Yeah.
Sorry to be completely off topic.
That's fine.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so one of the things that Chris was talking about with the Atlas was the idea of being able to laser designate target, which almost means like you could have a mini version of Tomahawks. You could basically have vertical silos on the back and literally designate a target, which is great because it means then if you're paying attention, you might be able to spot the person that's spotting you because someone's going to have line of sight to you. And if they've got line of sight to you, then you've got line of sight to them.
Well, you and
It would also be good to have flares, though.
You and SA have been talking about laser designation since I can remember the ballista the ballista, yeah. Since we saw those missiles on it, like it'd be great if they were land to land, and I just remember all that.
Yes.
So yeah, you guys called it for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
I'm almost down.
Good.
Just 300 meters.
Don't crash.
Didn't.
Mark's out of 10 for landing.
All right.
Nice.
So browser. Click this link.
Do it so we can hear it this side as well.
I gotta flick it over for you boys, don't I? Yeah. Usually Algared annoying me to flick it over. It's good to hear a different voice for a change. I gotta give him so much shit so he never leaves again. That's the plan. Right. Right, here we go.
I saw you apply to the Flight Academy again.
I'm your new wingman, sir.
Actually, I just want to talk about something here. I remember hearing recently they're making it so that you can actually play as a female in Squadron 42. Did you hear about that? So they're actually going back.
No, but that's a positive step.
They're going back now, and they're making it so you can play as a woman. But that also means that we're back and do all the voice lines again for every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder because it was originally acted by a guy. Think about all the extra work that's created because, like, the female's slightly shorter. So every time if something's following the camera and it's set to the man, they've actually got to readjust not just the rotation, but maybe the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So so much work that's created. But anyway, and I don't mean that purely based on having to redo it. I'm talking about purely based on the fact that if they'd done it from the beginning, it wouldn't be retroactively. That's my biggest problem. So yeah. Anyway.
The coil. Local scum use it for cover to launch attacks. This is their turf, so moving on. Keep your eyes open.
I love that audio transition.
Yeah.
No southern moves.
Who the hell are you?
We're OMC. And OMC belongs to Sato Khan. Is that your boss? Are we supposed to be scared of him or something?
Sorry, just pause it there. So, for those that don't have the background to that, he's a very British actor, that guy that we just saw. He is in every football hooligan movie ever made, and he's in every other London gangster movie ever made. And hearing his voice before seeing his face was like a real moment for me. So I'm not sure if he's much known outside of the UK, but that was like they got him into it. It was just beautiful, really exciting. Sorry, go on.
No, he was in a whole bunch of movies. I know who he is. Yeah.
Aren't the only ones.
He's a bloody legend, also.
Toms.
So there you go. You've got Gary Oldman. What's this guy? Strong? Something Strong?
Mark Strong,
Mark Strong, yeah. Henry Cavill, though,
the noise is so cool.
Henry Cavill's a little bit blink and you miss him, though. So, by the way, one of these aliens, Dan, is actually played by Andy Serkis, the guy that did Gollum.
All right.
We're under attack by.
I know she's famous as well. Can't remember her name.
Yep.
And he's from
Rona Mitra.
Yeah, and he's from Game of Thrones. He was.
Yeah.
Vandal forces. Repeat. We are under attack. There have been battles. There have been losses. Each and every one of you.
He's Australian.
Ben Mendelsohn.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, a lot of these were done before they become famous. So he went from this and went off and did Rogue One. Henry Cavill went off and did Superman. Like, so they got these guys before they were. Like, one of the things is they've recorded this. How much is it going to get them to cost to come back and do part 2?
You has proven yourself.
There we go.
John Rhys Davies.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill.
Time and again.
Gillian.
We will not lose the system. We will not fall back.
That's Henry Cavill.
Yeah, you got a point.
And I don't know that guy's name, but he's a good actor as well. He was in Boardwalk Empire. He was the sniper with one eye, and he's been in a bunch of other things, but I can't remember his name to save my life. But he's a well-known actor as well.
Copy that. Tally's on me. Let's say hi.
We will win. Because we have to.
So that came out, I'm pretty sure that came out in 2017, or am I mistaken? Where was it? 2018, October 11th, 2018. So yeah, that's how old that is. That's 4 years old now.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, so.
I'm sure it loses.
I would so die in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Watching that.
I'm sure it loses a bit of its impact when you paused it as many times as we did, but
sorry.
Just I was in there with you.
We'll link it, and you can watch it again without our interference, Dan. The other one I'd also link, Dan, would be the you know that the mission, the vertical slice. And the vertical slice with the commentary. So that goes for like an hour and a half, where it's just playing the mission, and then they do it again where it's commented by Todd Pappy, Chris Roberts, and some other dude. I forgot his name. It might have been Aaron. And yeah, it's just really cool to see. Like, they talk about all their plans and stuff like that. So it's just. Yeah. I think that's the other thing. Being a new player coming in, you just got so much to consume. You know, we just have to wait week to week, where you've got all this stuff you can catch up on. Sorry, Badges?
I'm so looking forward to it.
Ryan E asks, what do you mean you replaced Algared? Unfortunately, Old Man Hurston has been captured by members of the Hurston Liberation Front, and is being held to ransom.
And, I'm the treasurer, so all money must be sent to me.
Don't send stuff to John, he'll lose it. Okie dokie.
You will work tomorrow, Badgers.
I don't want to talk about it. Joshua, which is why I'm trying to hammer through these questions. So shut up.
Okay.
No.
Interrupting you.
No, you're all right, mate. Okay, so Joshua Larry says, how should missiles and torpedoes work? And how should the signature system work? Good Lord. Just about saying getting through questions and you get one like that. Yeah. Who wants to take that one?
Say it again, sorry.
How should missiles and torpedoes work? And how should the signature system work?
Missiles and torpedoes work, and how should the signature system work? So for me, I think torpedoes are in a really weird spot because essentially from what you can see when you look at it is they're just bigger versions of missiles. So they're tailored more at more armored ships and stuff like that, where I think missiles are more for shield-based craft. I think torpedoes are a little bit more tailored at the armored stuff, but that's just how I see it, but I'm different. Oh wait, I can show you this thing now, can't I? Hang on. So if you deploy this... I'm sure you guys have all seen it already, but there's just something about how this thing feels when you fire it. It's just...
Fire it before you put this...
You're still on your squadron doodah, green mate. We're not on the game.
Oh, what? Oh.
Yeah.
Glad someone told me. Oh, no, that's just...
Change the stream. It's fine. It's just what you're sharing to us.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I just realized that. They're having a senior moment. Don't worry about them. It's fine. Oh, wait. Change windows, screen, bang, bang. There you go. That'll fix your problem, boys. All right.
On the torps versus missiles and the signature system, though, it's all going to be a complicated balancing act for CIG to work out.
Yeah. I mean, in small handfuls, I feel like missiles, anti-fighter. You can do anti-big ship, but you're going to need to do them in large salvos, right? And these things will be things you'll need to actively defeat, otherwise they'll keep coming around again. Whereas torps, I feel, should be either dumbfire or they can be guided to an extent. Slower, less maneuverable, and if they miss you, they've just missed you. They're not maneuverable enough to come around for a second pass. But, obviously, because they're torpedoes, far more powerful. Easy to evade in smaller ships. But if you happen to get in the way of one, dead. The signature system, I think they've all got backwards, but there.
That
If
hill,
people are really
that hill is
interested-
taking a beating. Sorry, Ken.
I was going to say, if it's something that people are genuinely interested in, what I was going to suggest is myself, Badgers, and SE get together and go into more detail, because this is a rabbit hole we could go down for half an hour or more.
Yes. The bottom line, there's two ways of looking for people, right? Think about you're in a space, it's pitch black, you've got a torch. And you know the people you're looking for also have torches. There's two ways to go look for it. Switch your torch on and go looking for people, or sit there, do nothing, and watch other people with torches walk around, right?
Sorry, I'm actually... I was actually driving them with the poles down.
So yeah, just that brought by and large. So radar would be an active process. The scanning thing, actually defining contents, there's obviously no way to do that in real life, so that's a bit of hand-wavium. And I think, the passive listening at this point will be based on, as they're trying to do, how much power and heat you're putting out all at once.
Well, they've got different things there too, don't they? Like, you've got... they talked about thermal cross... what do you call it?
Yes. Yeah, so in fact, radar cross-section, RCS.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's huge, and I mean, that's something that we would... No, it's, like Essay's just said in chat, the depth of scanning, like how you detect stuff, is mind-numbing. And it's huge. So we'll have to, like, pick out the interesting bits that might be viable to gameplay, and then have a chat about it. But it's huge, basically. I mean, just to give you from a military perspective, military radars are not mass-produced. They are much rarer. So because they're built like handcrafted, if you like, right? You can listen to a radar and not know just what sort of radar it is. You can know what radar it is.
We did do a professional point of view on radar scanning and ping. That would be the video I'd redirect people to if you wanted more.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, just in terms of short, you're able to determine, you know, if you encounter one ship of a class and then you encounter it again, you're not only able to identify that it's the radar that's on that class, you're able to identify that ship from the radar signature. And it goes into all sorts of things. So, you know, passive listening to radars, basically receiving the radar signal and interpreting it, is what a lot of warships will do. So, should I be worried that you're stripping your character down on... This is going to be slightly ahead of everyone else, so spoilers. But...
I'm just stealing things. It's fine. Settle down.
Yeah. But yeah, Grim, we might well revisit that. But yes. I mean, that's a huge... So did anyone else have thoughts on missiles, torpedoes, and signatures, or... This is a big topic.
It is a big topic, and to be honest, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now because you've got IR, EM, different categories of EM,
Stealth.
active, passive, active countermeasures, the whole
radar
gambit.
Defeat.
Jesus.
Yeah. Radar cross section. There's lots of. Yes, it's a long ass question. So Josh, definitely recommend that video that X talked about, which is a professional kind of. We've got various people that come into the Inforunners background so they can talk with industry knowledge. So it might not be working for the gameplay, but they can give you the background. Like my background is I'm an ex-Navy officer. So they can give you that knowledge, and you know that this is how it works in the real world, and then you guys get to decide for yourself what would be cool in the game. We just give you the knowledge to the extent that we can. Cool. Rum Runner asks, flak and incendiary ammo is on the roadmap. Please discuss.
More ammo, the better. I think we kind of talked about that a little bit too at the time when it came out, because we talked about the Perseus, yeah? From memory?
Mm-hmm.
No! Yeah, no! Absolutely. I'm naked! This is not going to end well. Come here. Quick. No, what the hell? He dropped the gun. No.
CIG, fix AI, please.
I'm so dead. Ah! Got him! Oh, thank God.
CIG, fix AI, please. Please. Yeah, that.
You are so lucky.
Ah, shut up, John. I'm not lucky.
Pure luck. I was thinking I'm going to come into game just to revive you.
God damn it. The other one I wanted
really sorry, guys, because obviously what we're watching is a couple of seconds ahead of you guys, so you won't it won't match up quietly, but yeah. It's not good. Okay. So yeah, flak and incendiary ammo. I can't wait to set fire to some people.
Yep.
Question mark.
Yeah, well, incendiary adds a whole fire thing. Like, actually, that's something that I probably would talk to Dan about a little bit with the whole fire stuff, because like one of the things I found from when talking to a lot of people about fire is smoke is actually the big killer.
You can't wish froze.
So I really do think a fire truck is going to be a thing, and I do think we'll also see a what's it called in the future? You know, we were talking about the thing with the explosive decompression. Badges, do you remember?
Yep.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
So a ship that can, you know, like a rescue ship of some description. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
I think we're gonna hopefully see a lot more, and again, some of them that aren't just, you know, I win buttons for combat. So maybe things like die or trackers or, you know, that sort of stuff. I'm really interested to see. Wow, what was he doing? I'm really interested to see some like non-lethal stuff as well.
Well, put it this way:
maybe
can you
baton
imagine,
rounds or
can you imagine that incendiary ammo against, say, the I always forget the name, the Pumbrak suit? You know, that heat-resistant suit. Like, it probably does no damage to it at all.
Just walking through it, like, and what?
Exactly.
If you think that's bad, could you imagine incendiary rounds against a Starfarer?
Yep. Exactly.
Toasty. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Jimmy Todd asks, what vehicles do you think the Retaliator base will be able to take when it's released?
Ooh.
Does it have a vehicle?
It doesn't. It doesn't, mate. There's no elevator up into that thing other than the personnel. So I think I believe the official term is shit out of luck.
Maybe the cargo module, but even then, I don't think it would be that tall.
I think. Well, that's actually.
Yeah,
that's
I think height will be.
I actually think you're right there. That would be the only way. Like, they'd have to make it so the cargo module drops down to the ground. It's the only way that works. So you're probably right. Maybe you can get a vehicle in there, but I would have to say, looking at the size, I would say Cyclone at most. What about you guys? If you think about the physical size of that ship, where those bomb modules go, I don't think you'd get anything bigger than that.
I think it'd be the non-turreted ones only. I don't think you get the ones with the turrets in at all. They're quite dull.
Yeah. I think bikes, Ranger, Dragonfly, but without anyone on it, I think we're going to even have to have the cargo module down to even get anyone on that stuff. Because that's a low ceiling.
What he said.
Thanks, Dan.
Just being supportive, mate.
Yeah. Cheers, bud.
Next question.
Okie dokie. Destro asks, for everybody, would you say the 400i is the safest thing to take through a small jump point?
Well, up until recently, the smallest ship that went through a jump point was the Freelancer, and it's now the Legionnaire. So technically, the 400i doesn't fit through a small jump point. So, no.
I thought it was the Freelancer Max, but I could be mistaken.
Freelancer, but as I said, when the Legionnaire came out, it's slightly longer than the Freelancer and it's taller. Or it's, sorry, slightly shorter, but it's taller. So it actually now makes it the largest vehicle that can do that. So yeah, semantics though, John. Semantics. At the end of the day.
No, well, when you said Freelancer, there's a few variations of it.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Next question.
Okay. I don't even know. Hardwoodland? Hoodwoodland. There you go. That. Why do you think CIG won't show us AI behavior that is not held up by server performance?
That's maybe about trying to get our hopes up, like just showing it because like we know how bad it is, but yeah, true. I guess that's a. I don't know. You. Just your thoughts on that, because that's a weird one actually.
It's a really good question. I suppose what AI performance or what AI behavior specifically we're looking at. So, I mean, in that ISC we saw the coffee shop vendor, you know, and some of the other AI things. The highlights that I've seen are things like the guy they're talking about janitors doing things two-handed and all that sort of stuff. I think that they did show off a little while people doing routine maintenance and engineering tasks. Yeah, so they were like crouched down at consoles and
vending machine stuff. Remember that last year? I'm thinking as you're talking. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, part of this, and this is for a lot of stuff in Star Citizen, I wonder how much of this boils down to they're not specifically sure just how much room they're going to get with server meshing. So they don't know how much capacity they can build into the AI stuff. So they're building in stuff like animations and the AI sleep cycles and like when they get up, when they go to bed, when they go to work, all that sort of nonsense. But they're not quite sure how far they can take it yet. In the same way that we're not seeing capital ships released into the game anymore. I think until CIG figure out precisely how they're going to be working on the back end when we get server meshing. That would be my guess. It is a complete guess. I have no expert knowledge in that field, but just watching the development for the game as long as I have, that would be my gut feeling.
I think
but you're right, it would be nice to see it in a test environment. And there's no reason they can't show us, you know, look, with a standard tick rate, this is what we're aiming for.
Too much
it's a good point.
So two parts to it when I think about it now is it's too much like Squadron 42. They're worried they've only got it working in a Squadron 42 environment, so it spoils a bit of it. And the other part is like what you said. The other part that we have seen is network based, and because server meshing's not out, they can't kind of show that properly. But again, they must have virtual servers, so they could show it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just an oversight. Yeah.
You'd also sometimes see it in game when you're in an emptier server. The AI suddenly goes from Derp Team to SEAL Team.
Yeah, that you do.
Yes.
Oh, my camera keeps going off. I'm really getting sick of this camera. I swear.
It's like going back to the Siege of Orison. When you was on a good server, the AI gave a really good fight. You had to be top of your game, really, and there 2 or 3 of you had to be watching out for each other. So we know the AI can work well, but we are used to the sluggish stuff at the moment, where you can go around, strip off, find something, and still kill the AI in a bunker, which we've just got an example of.
Yeah. You can pull an X and get away with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think I did quite well there. I went into that bunker with a noob suit on, not a single gun. Mission complete.
Yeah, but that's answered the question about the sluggish AI. You shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
No, I use the guards to kill them, and
top tip: if you're not, if you don't know already, or if you're not really into the FPS stuff as much as maybe I and some of the others are, if you find weapons in the red crates and you put them into your hands instead of to a weapon slot, you'll notice the X's sniper rifle, the sight's been removed from it. If you put it into hands, that does not happen. You get to keep the sights and all the attachments.
Yes.
What?
So when you find the P6LR sniper rifle, which is my favourite weapon, or one of my favourite weapons in the game, I think it is Can's favourite weapon, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yeah, because anyone firing a 50 cal at people, I mean, that's just good fun, right? It will also come with ammo, which is obviously not what that one's done. But you've lost the sight because it's been put onto the backpack, not into your hands. So yeah, cool. Moving on, I'm not sure, I don't play Warframe, so I can't answer this, but Fishy2951 says, so now that we're all going to prison, sore subject, how many do you think are going to sing the Fortuna song from Warframe while they mine? I don't know what that is.
Mining, you got to watch your back at you, because there could be extra missions in there.
Don't know the song.
But I'm assuming the people that play Warframe, question mark?
There's people that play Warframe? I don't know.
Just to jump in.
Wow.
Essie's mentioned in chat, CQC, which is close quarter combat, will not be anything like what it is now. And I would agree with Essie, it's going to be a completely different experience.
You're right, it does keep the sight.
So now if you equip it, you'll have it and that sort of stuff. But those sights are the best sights in the game as far as I'm concerned, long range wise.
What's that? Is that the times 4 one that comes on that?
No, it's
times
16. E16. It's great. We were using it to snipe off the rooftops of buildings in Oregon. You can do some serious damage with that.
Yeah.
I was
There's
actually
a problem with the ammo.
Platform to platform.
There's a problem with the ammo. I just put the ammo on my character, and it. Oh, there it is. Now it's there. It wasn't there a second ago. That's so weird. Anyway, so this
this one
is this your favorite gun that you were talking about?
This
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
This is effectively a 50 caliber sniper rifle. If you go to Siege, like you know at Heartmoor, how there's like the multiple platforms to make up Heartmoor. I was able to shoot from a building on one of the platforms across the distance of the bridge and one-shot the guys on the other side of the bridge.
What's the key to zero the rifle?
Page up. So you'll range to what you're looking at and
that's pretty cool.
Hit bang on. Yeah, they're great. Okay, Monster AV says, didn't they say they were going to do Anvil large combat ships? Where do you guys think that will fall between them?
I think they've
Anvil cruiser.
I know we've said it a few times that they need to do some larger Anvil ones.
Yeah.
But they're meant to be the competitor. Sorry, they're meant to be competitor to Aegis, but they just don't have the big ships to support them. You know, to support that claim.
I think the next one will be the Polaris. The Perseus's bigger brother, which will be the counter to the Polaris's run in, one hit punch and run away. It will be the absolute beastie brawler MMA fighter style, as opposed to the Polaris's run in, kick you in the nuts and run away.
Really quick, sorry, you know how you were mentioning radar, scanner, and ping before? Notice the radar dish on between the turret?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway.
That'll be a fire control radar. It's too small to be a search radar.
Okay, Mr. Fancy Pants! Alright. No, that's fine. Keep going, sorry.
I'm gonna do a what do you call it? I'm gonna do a shameless plug here.
Yeah.
But last week, I released a video on capital class ships that they've promised us, but we've seen nothing about. Being the cruiser, the battle cruiser, and the escort carrier. The escort carrier is, as it turns out, the Pegasus, which is a missed opportunity. But I think potentially it would be nice to see Anvil do one of those, potentially the cruiser. But if you want to see more of that, then it's on my channel.
I've watched it. It's a kind of okay video. You can watch it.
Shut up, mate.
and while Badgers was talking there, nobody noticed X's excellent driving going over there and landing on some rocks.
Yeah, as I said, I get there as quickly as possible, but I still beat you there.
Yeah.
And I didn't explode or anything. It's fine. I don't want you.
Yeah, but my vehicles always keep going longer than yours.
So, Crystal, unfortunately, there's a yes and no answer to that. We are getting a dreadnought, absolutely, which is the Retribution class dreadnought. Unfortunately, it is a unique ship which we will not get our hands on. It's going to be a Squadron 42 asset. So it's huge. It's 2 kilometers long, 2.5 kilometers.
Something of that nature. You can look it up. There's a really good ship scale image of it if you look it up.
Yes.
Oh, Bucky Brocco time.
But unfortunately, it won't be something we get to play with.
I think it's also something that CIG might pull out if somebody gets a little bit over aggressive with their org and just go, alright, you can have fun dying to this because it can't be killed.
Yeah. Yeah, so yes, they're going to say they're going to do large Anvil ships. What you will have noticed, Monster AV, is that we haven't seen new capital ships for a while, and I think that goes back to what we were saying about server meshing. They need to understand precisely what is possible before they try and go bigger, because everything I've mentioned is bigger than the Javelin, and the smaller stuff, same thing. You know, so there's going to be stuff that they need to figure out.
Yeah.
Randy Alarm asks, should we start pushing for the mole in Showdown?
No.
No, because that's what Concy wants, so no. I'd be far more likely to push the Prospector before I push the mole, personally.
Yes, I agree totally.
Yeah. The problem with the mole is it really just doesn't have its own mining gameplay yet, and what I mean by that, you can kind of tell they've made the rocks and kind of gone, yeah, if we make the rocks work for both, we don't have to do... We have to do half as much of the work. So eventually the mole will come into its own, but at the moment it's in a really shitty spot. Because there's no real advantage to it. The 2 Prospectors will scale to a mole essentially, so that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the interesting thing, and I cover this in the video. So they've got in chat. The chat continues about the size of capital ships and stuff like that. So what we have is Wiki 1 says biggest ship will be able to fly it is the Bengal, right? I heard will not be able to fly it, but it is obtainable in the game, assuming that enough people can fight for it and keep it. And then.
Sorry guys, I gotta go. I've got to call out.
All right, mate.
Great chat.
Cheers, Dan. Thanks, mate.
Is that a fireman call out?
Yes, it was. That's why he went so big.
Yeah. Awesome. Good luck, mate. Stay safe. So yes, basically what CIG have said is that the Bengal will be something that potentially we could own, but not in the sense that we own any of the ships at the minute, in that you will find this thing either in a wreckage field or wrecked on a planet. You'll need to put it back together, you'll need to make it flight worthy, you'll need to get all the components to it.
While defending it, mind you.
Yeah, which means you'll probably repair it, because they've said to switch out capital ship components, you'll need a dock. So the chances are they'll all be in it, but you're going to need to repair it. You're going to need to find some.
You'll probably have to.
Equipment.
You'll have to drag it back to a ship dock with an SRV.
Yes.
You know, defend the ship dock.
Yeah, absolutely. It's likely with the Pioneer, you're going to effectively build a base around it to defend it while your Orc puts it back together. And get this thing off the planet, and it will be effectively take overable.
I'm sorry, I have to correct you there. Pioneer's on planet. I think you'll have to pull it off the ground with an SRV and take it to a space block, and then like have Krakens or Nautiluses put turrets and all that around. I think. Oh, maybe you're right though. You're talking about turrets on the ground, aren't you? Right now I'm with you.
Yeah, I think you'll need to get it to a state to move it, and it'll be like a multi-stage process.
Yeah.
I mean, fleets of SRVs, one and SRV's not going to cut it. But, even if you do that and you own it for, you fly the Bengal around for years, if it's destroyed or you lose it in a boarding action or whatever, you're not going to be able to get it back. And that's the difference in ownable. So when we say ownable, often it refers to, if it gets destroyed, I can claim it back with insurance. The Bengal's not going to be that. And Chris Roberts even mentioned in one of the interviews there being a regular event to fight over some large capital ships.
Yeah.
But aren't they going to bring insurance into the game, which you can buy with in-game money?
Yes, but it will not be applicable to something like the Bengal.
Okay.
So basically it makes it like...
Sorry, certain ships they've said are not going to be insurable. One of them that they talked about was like the Vandal Scythe in game. So if you actually have a legitimate alien ship, you can't get insurance on it. Sorry, Badges.
That's right. And so there are 3 ships. So here's the interesting thing, and I go into this again in the video that I put up, but I'll do it here so you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. When they introduced the Javelin, one of the lines on that is the Javelin, although it's the biggest ship you can own, it is also the smallest ship of the line, operated by the UEE Navy, right? If you look at the stretch goals, there are also ships named, or classes of ship, the cruiser, the battle cruiser, and the fleet carrier. Historically, these were all bigger than the destroyer. The cruiser and battle cruisers are both ships of the line. So by CIG's own words, these ships will be larger, and most of them have flyable written next to them. And I think, given what CIG said about the Javelin being the largest ownable, they will be the same thing. So it might be that instead of salvaging these, one is abandoned in space, everyone is made aware of it, and it's basically one big ruckus, and the last org standing... Yep, exactly that. The last org standing get to own it, but if it's taken over or destroyed, you just lose it.
So the other thing Badges I want to add to that is they also said that thing will not be able to be despawned. So it is, once it is in game, it is 24 hours active. So if you take it over, you have to be able to look after it for 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
24/7, 365 days a year, you've got to have a full crew complement and security.
Yeah, because if you were a German org as an example and comes to Australia time and your numbers dip, that's when they're going to attack. They're going to attack when you're at the low point. So
exactly. Yeah. Cool. And the last question on the... Oh no, it's not the last question. I forgot to scroll down. Good damn it. Ace Hambone, tongue-in-cheek, asks, "What's the best adult dating site?" ?
Oh god. Next one.
Wait for the bot to come back. He'll tell you.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Randy Alon says, "Would a Vulcan supporting make a ballistic Centurion viable?"
Ballistic Centurion, possibly, but again, I think that's the real strength between the Ballista and the Centurion, is you got lasers and you just don't need the ammo. That's the advantage. So, yeah.
You're adding downtime in a system that is an area of defense weapon at the last line. You do not want downtime on that system.
Yeah. I mean, real world, obviously it happens because we don't have laser weapons. If you look at the Phalanx close-in weapon system, ballistic. But yeah, they'd have to be fairly quick to reload. There'd have to be some sort of quick load system to it.
I think
so possible, yeah.
I think a lot of the ballistic,
but not optimal.
I think a lot of automatic, not automatic, but like reload systems for ballistics are coming. You know, I think a lot of AI is going to be able to run around and deliver ammo to you. I think the disadvantage of ballistics over lasers is in, so lasers will probably need batteries, but they won't need to be as frequently reloaded as, say, something that's ballistic. That's the, you know, and again, you're talking about the game now and the game later. I think there'll be a lot more on par down the road.
Yep. We interrupt this program with a message from the Hurston Liberation Front, who have been requested to provide a proof of life prior to the ransom of Old Man Hurston. Old Man Hurston, can you hear us?
Oh.
Now, that's not a very nice thing to say.
Hello, mate. Rumours of your demise have been massively overstated.
Have you seen the title of the stream, Algared? It was the best clickbait ever. And so many people come in. Where's Algared?
Yeah, what have you done with Algared?
I'm guessing that there's something about you replaced me, because I saw some of the questions which were, I replaced Algared.
Yeah.
So, no, I've been, I had to not be available today because I've been snowed under with schoolwork.
Yeah. What we've said, Algared, is that you have been...
real life comes first.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, guys.
We've basically said that you've been captured by the Hurston Liberation Front, who are demanding a minimum donation goal to be determined before they let you out of the office.
And I was
No, I heard they were asking for 50 unmarked Mars bars. In a brown paper bag. How uncouth. I'm at least worth 51.
Yeah.
No, they weren't asking that much.
No, I'm asking from
Old Man Hurston is horrified, I'm sure.
They're asking for a warm apple pie from McDonald's. That's what they're asking for.
Wow.
No, I heard they only use choco. Now, Old Man Hurston, be quiet. Sorry for the bad volume if you've got it. It's just me and my phone, so.
Yeah, you're a bit robotic. It's fine. All right. How many questions we got left?
Okay. You got a handful. Got about 6.
Or I might actually call it there, because believe it or not, I actually have to go to the dentist for root canal in the next hour. So I need to eat some food and get out of here. But yeah, it's been great having everyone.
I've got to go to bed.
Awesome.
Well, it's very late for you too, isn't it? It's almost like 3 a.m., isn't it?
It is.
It is 3 a.m. Those questions that we haven't caught up with, what we'll do is I'll post a comment in the live stream.
Yep.
With your questions and a quick answer. And then, obviously we can expand on that again when we next live stream. So apologies, but we have been at this for 3 hours and I've got to be up in 5 hours for work. So we are pushing the realms of...
It's time to call it. That's right.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So apologies to those who haven't had the questions answered, but we will do our best to get around to it next time, or a comment here.
Yeah, I've got to be up at 9:30, take the dog for a walk.
Yeah, priorities.
Live.
Priorities there, John. Priorities.
Yes.
Just real quick. There was a couple of people in Twitch that I didn't get around to answering, but the people in Twitch were about saying things like, they were talking about the helmet thing I talked about. Helmet. And they'll say this one's really important. John still had his teeth when SC started development. So yeah, I thought that was really good reflection there, John.
I can remember the was it Gamescom or CitizenCon where the chant was up for the helmet.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Gamescom. So yeah, it's like back in 2014.
But I can remember that the old helmet spin and the fans calling for it and it being awesome.
Yeah, before we call it, I'd like to ask Algared, what are your favourite moments in Star Citizen? Because we've all answered that near enough.
One of my favourite moments.
I'm going to bow out, but
one of your favourite moments, and shut
one of my
you'll listen.
One of my favourite moments was getting the PTV and driving down the hangar, and at the end there was the obstacle course. and just being able to do silly things in the obstacle course.
Did you?
Because I think back then that was like the first thing we could do, and it was like fun. And then you got sick of that, and you went to the shooting range next to it, and you could test the guns out.
Algared, did you get to see the post this morning about the PTV?
No.
So they're removing it from the vote, but they're giving it a dedicated skin to everyone for free next year because they are redoing it next year, so they didn't want to do it twice. And I think the other reason they're doing that is because then they know the mule's going to win, and they've already done the skins for the mule, so it's like so low bar, it's not funny.
So I didn't want to have two.
Well, they didn't want to
they didn't.
Yeah, well, they also didn't want to redo the PTV because they'd have to do the art for it now and then do the art again next year. But also, the PTV only costs $15, not $50 like the mule. So everything's in their favour to remove the PTV.
Yep.
And I think we should.
And if I had two of them in there. Yep.
Well, I'm thinking the Ursa might be the fallback because the Ursa doesn't have any skins at all either, other than the Fortuna. So yeah.
Yeah, and the Ursa was a good vehicle. I like the Ursa.
Yeah. Basically means the PTV will probably win it next year then, but we'll see.
You know, in terms of vehicles, you look at the vehicles that are actually enclosed cabs, and you've got the Ursa, the Spartans, and I think the mule's enclosed vehicle now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they're it, you know, and I'd rather have and the G12s.
All right, then.
On that note,
I'm going to show this thing. So I did this yesterday, so we can remember. Look, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I don't know if that's good or not, but I did that yesterday, so I thought I'd show you.
But we do need you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell because analytics and all that other stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the mule's going to take it this year. I just with them cutting that, and I think it might. I don't know how business orientated it is, but it feels like a business thing because going from $15 to $50 is going to increase their sales out of sight, and it's less work, more money, less work. It's a no-brainer. And they already do have skins for the PTV, so them turning around saying they have to redo it. Not quite the same because they could have just taken the old skins and just changed the colors. So it just sounds like a load of baloney. And if you know how long it takes to do a texture, it doesn't. If you've already got that unwrap, which they've obviously got, not that much extra work. I'm going to be honest.
I'm going to call that. I'm going to call it now. The rework of the PTV means it's going up in price.
Yeah, probably. We'll see.
And there you go. I reckon it'll go up in price when it's reworked. So probably $20, $30 minimum.
Let us know your thoughts below in the comments
my
too.
pessimism.
Let us know your thoughts below in the comments below. What chip would you like to see now the PTV is out of the run? Because for me, I never thought of the Ursa initially, but it only came up with playing with Jon and Dan over the last couple of days. But I can't think of another ship or vehicle that is old like that just doesn't have stuff. But because once you go into the ships,
it should have it.
Yeah,
and
it should.
I'm going to qualify what chip should replace the PTV. Cheap chip. So don't say 890 jump. Don't say 600i. Don't say Carrick. Cheap chip.
Well, the other, I kind of brought that up. I said a ship that everyone can kind of obtain. Actually, you know what? The Cutlass. I almost just go back to the Cutlass or the Avenger. But the other thing I brought up, Algared, was something
Aurora.
I haven't actually talked to you about. I was reading this thing the other day, and someone said it to me too. Actually, about picking 5 ships because they all get Warbond CCUs. So what if we just perfectly arrange 5 of them in a perfect chain? So you get these really cool chains that fill in the gaps. 5 perfect
chain ships.
Yeah.
5 perfect chain ships. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right. With that, everyone.
Anyway.
Love you and live you. So we've had Jon here today. We've had Badges here today. Can here today. Dan here today. And Algared joined at the last minute. So thank you for having you. And
old man Hurston. And don't forget to pay that ransom. They're not feeding me my teenies properly. They're not even letting Nursey give me my medicine.
Welcome to the working class, Mr. Hurston.
Yes.
Basically, he turns up and he shuts you up just like that.
All right, we will have an episode this weekend for you guys as well. That'll come out Monday US time. All right, with that, we'll love you and leave you, and catch you in the next one.